sure none of your drinks full.
Right on time, every time.
Oh, not every time.
Every time.
What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Shaman?
Soda,
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks,
maple syrup.
fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Finally, the IIRonics have come back to the Single Malt Studios. That's right, it's me at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show, and with me the other half of the ironic duo, Kevlar. Nah, dude, I'm gonna hawk up something.
I had to turn your mic down. Jeez.
Well, yeah, you gotta turn it down to turn it up. You know what I mean? Turned up, turned it. Kev, how you doing, man? I'm doing all right. Doing good, dude. I'm still riding it, man. I'm still riding that wave. I'm a little happy about Becky being back, but we'll talk about that. Still riding the high of it. I had a good time, man. I had a really good time. We went to Smackdown that Friday and immediately hightailed it to Vegas that night. Pulled in at a cool 1:30 in the morning-ish. Checked into the hotel and said, we here, we doing it. And then we made it over to Allegiant Stadium the next day to be there and experience it all. Man, it was just badass to be out there in a crowd again.
And for those of you on Twitch wondering where our episode was, we were not able to record live, but we did post on YouTube when we were in Phoenix. So that's there for anyone interested.
Yeah, our pregame for SummerSlam. We posted on our YouTube page in video form, and we posted it on podcast platform. And we had fans, I'll call them. We had a live studio audience. We did it live from an actual bar, Wrestling on the Rocks, not in Single Malt Studio, but actual bar. So thank you to Kettle Black in Phoenix for hosting us and allowing us to do that. That was really cool. Good place, good food, good people. All good. All good. Kev, Justin Time is already in the chat saying cheer squad. Justin, please let us know right away if... Oh, he says in a dope episode it was. That means they can hear me. All right. Last time we had a real big issue with being heard.
Well, he was talking about the Kettle Black episode. He said a dope episode it was.
Yeah, of course. He's responding to a thing that I said. That lets me know he can hear me. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad that he did that. I didn't get a chance to listen to it back yet. I hope you guys could hear the guys who were sitting across the table from us. It was 4 dudes in wrestling shirts kept eyeing us, saw me change my shirt out for a ref shirt, and they're like, fuck yeah, saw me like whip out this belt and put it up behind us, and they're like, what the hell is going on? And it was a good time. It was a good time.
The good.
Yeah.
It was the good side. The good side of the wrestling community.
Oh yeah, definitely guys from our side. We went ahead and what's the we'll look it up. Mario's podcast. Mario's _podcast was one of the guys there. Really cool guy. Really cool group of guys. So yeah, I was hoping to. I talked about that with GR Lunar. He came with us, alumni of the show. Because I was walking around with my Wrestling on the Rocks title, which is not out today because we were celebrating today, but I had the Wrestling on the Rocks title with me the whole weekend, and I was wearing it. And he said, what do you think about people who think that people who walk around with titles should have to defend them? I said, I've turned down 0 challenges. Problem's not me. Problem's not my willingness. It's about all of these punks not willing to step up to me because they know as the world overweight champion, there's no defeating me anyways. Yeah. Yeah, I'll disqualify you right away. Yeah, the second they touch me, I'll become the official too. I'm also the official. You can't lay your hands on me. I have an advantage. Won't deny. Kev, what's in your glass? What are you drinking today as we get going? Oh, nice. He says he can't hear Kev. Kev's there. Go back to the mixer. The mixer is right above where it says just sound. The mixer. This. Oh. For the monitor only.
For monitor, what?
Click this and do monitor and output. There it goes. Click, and then that should be it. Kev, you should be back. Are you back, Kev?
I've been here.
You're
think.
Still here. Started
I'm
from
talking to myself.
Technical difficulties. Have a drink. You said you're having Kona longboard?
Yeah, along with some kilt lifters, mixing it up. Grab back.
Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, it's only episode 1. Everybody relax. It's just episode 1. Justin, let us know if you can hear him now. I'm having, in honor of the big return, Rebecca Creek whiskey. It's a fine Texas blended whiskey. It says this was shipped to me from Texas. I was told not to expect an awful lot from it, so I am mixing it. Perfect.
Sweet.
Luckily, he hasn't said anything important yet. We'll get to that. But you didn't get to hear. They didn't get to hear you moan when I said that the IIRonics were back in town. They would have loved that.
There you go. Sound a little forced.
Yeah, a little forced this time, but it's all right. It works. It works. For anybody wondering how we're feeling about the weekend overall, tell me if you can spot the hidden Becky Lynch on set.
Which one?
Well, you tell me, guys. It's like a Where's Waldo, but Becky Lynch. Where's Becky Lynch? You know what I mean? Guys, I'm going to get this out and early. Flow State Coffee is once again sponsoring our show. We appreciate them. I think we're going to get the owner and operator Greg on here
Nice.
just a little bit or on an episode coming up. But Flow State Coffee is specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for productivity and creativity, better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee, while decreasing the negative side effects like anxiety and blood pressure. So, good guys over there. Go ahead and check it out. Go to their website, newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, and put in promo code CHEERS to get 10% off. So.
Excuse me.
Just having a cheers on that one. I don't think that there was any news really that I saw that was noteworthy that wasn't show orientated anyways.
The amount of people who watched.
We could talk a little bit about ratings if you want. I looked up, so Smackdown was at 2.2 or 2.3, somewhere around there. SummerSlam was record breaking. They have not had it that big in years. I know that there's speculation that the reason would be that they're on a bigger platform now, switching over to the network to Peacock. I think that's probably some truth to that, and I think that that's probably also the fucking point. So I don't see how people use it as a criticism.
I thought it was just because we went. Everyone knew we were going.
Everyone knew we were going to be there. Everyone was showing up looking for us. It was crazy. It was embarrassing a little bit,
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Just getting swamped. You know how it goes. Lee Moonlight in the chat. Cheers, Lee Moonlight.
Cheers.
Yeah. Then Raw broke 2 million. It was 2.034 or some shit like that. I don't know. It was over 2 million though. And I thought that was interesting because coming out of SummerSlam, I don't know about you, Kev, but I felt more comfortable than ever in saying there's no storyline on Raw that has me captivated or interested.
Yes. I'm trying to think. I mean, outside of...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Xavier, giving a Scott Hall shout out. I loved it.
Yeah, but that's not a story that's going to continue on Raw. You know what I mean?
He went to Raw dressed like him still.
Yeah, but I'm saying coming out of SummerSlam, there's nothing that made me say I need to watch Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see what Alexa Bliss does because she always does stuff at a high level. But even then, everything that she ever does ends up on their YouTube anyways. And it's like, well, I'm definitely not going to miss it. And even then, her story was pretty much over with Eva Marie. So it's kind of like, I don't know what's going to be next for her. And we'll talk about what turns out is next. But coming out of it, I didn't think there was anything in Raw that I was all that interested in. I like that Damian Priest became U.S. champion. Yeah. But how invested can I be in that without knowing where it's going? I mean, like, that's probably the most compelling story they have is that there's a new U.S. champion.
Well, I don't know. I like the Arcade Bro stuff, too. I think they're entertaining. Storyline-wise, like you said, there's not much of a story. It's just going what it is,
Yeah, exactly. Which, to me made it interesting that Raw had over 2 million viewers this week. I wonder if part of it is people are getting back into the routines. They're used to seeing large crowds again. People are starting to tune in and check it out and saying like, oh, it's back to normal. And now people are back to casually viewing it. Because I do think there's a large number of people who tune into wrestling in the family household just to have it on while they're doing other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something the kids can be watching while you guys are all getting ready for bed that you're kind of watching and everyone's kind of half watching, but it's on because it's also something that you don't necessarily have to focus every little bit of your attention on unless you're psychopaths like us.
Well, kids would want to watch it.
Yeah.
You can't tell the kids to watch wrestling and then be like, go to bed, turn it off. Our parents found that shit out the hard way.
Yeah, our parents did find that out the hard way. They definitely did. But I thought it was cool. I did think it was cool. Kev, I'll talk to you about it because it's relevant, but I know that we don't have a lot to say on it. The only thing that I would say that's newsworthy that we're going to touch more on probably tomorrow than today, but CM Punk did make his big return on Friday. So on Friday, SmackDown, we had a really great SmackDown. We're going to talk about that evening. You had CM Punk show up on AEW. Big news, very exciting for those fans. Then on Saturday, we had the return of Becky and Brock Lesnar. It was a good fucking weekend. If you're a fan of wrestling, there was something for you this weekend, no matter what it was, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think about CM Punk being back?
I mean, it was widely speculated. Like the Becky and the Brock returns, we knew Becky was going to come back eventually. Brock, you never know. So, I think there was more of a surprise pop type of thing. But, I mean, everyone, like CM Punk, like, to me, fits in AEW. And those are the type of fans that would really appreciate him. So, I'm happy for them. I'm happy they got their guy. Hopefully, they can do what they want with him and put out compelling wrestling.
Yeah, 100%. We've talked about it before on the show a number of times. Neither one of us is really big on CM Punk. We've not been big fans of his. He doesn't entice us to tune into things. I actually didn't even like him on backstage very much. But with that said, I still think it's ridiculous for anybody who's trying to shit on his return to AEW or his return to wrestling through AEW, because he does have a big fan base, and this is really fucking cool for those people. You know what I mean? So I don't know why some people are trying to like tear it down like it's this thing where it's all like, oh, did he move the needle or not? He moved their needle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their needles are up.
Boing.
Boing.
But-
That needle. That needle springed up.
What?
What?
I was making the
What?
needle noise.
That's what needles sound like. Boing. Yeah.
That's the way my car sounds when I hit the accelerator.
True. That's 100% the sound. It's also the sound that Conor McGregor's leg made when it snapped.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
Also a soft bone.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's see what I have to put up
Conor's
with.
little flaccid shin. All right. But what I am saying
But
is that
there's
CM Punk being back
wait.
is good for business. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, there's one thing that makes me nervous because, you know, the things I've heard about CM Punk is that, you know, he hasn't watched wrestling and, you know, all these rumors and other speculation. So I just hope he's, you know, at least trained well enough to compete. And I hope he just doesn't come out there and make a fool out of himself like he did in the UFC.
Yeah, 100%. That's all I want to is I want him to have good matches that those fans like and say the things on that they want him to hear. The other thing is this is like some people were also criticizing him because he mentioned WWE in his promo, and he alluded to it with the ice cream bars, and he talked about it, and people were all like, oh, Booker T famously just said he missed the mark on that one. He shouldn't have mentioned him. People tried to criticize that when Booker T showed up in TNA, he literally said the line, you guys are wondering why I left WWE. But they also cut the second part of the clip where he says, you can read about that in my book. I want to talk about TNA and why I'm here. So he plugged his book and said, if you like, let's not pretend you don't want to know, but I'm not going to spend my time here and talk about it. What I'm here to talk about is TNA and why am I here? What brought me here? So I do understand the criticism, but at the same time, CM Punk's entire gimmick from the time he was in ROH to the time he was in WWE to the time that he left WWE to every podcast he's done since has been an anti-WWE gimmick. What would he talk about if he didn't? I told someone it would be like if Hogan came out and didn't say brother or Jack. That's all he talks about is how much he hates WWE.
Yeah. It's the whole Dick Vitale challenge. I don't know if you know who Dick Vitale is, but he's a college basketball announcer, and he's in love with Duke in North Carolina. So the challenge is you watch a game that Duke and North Carolina aren't playing in, and every time he mentions them, you got to take a drink.
That's
They
pretty
say
funny.
by halftime you're wasted.
He just brings them up anyways. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Justin Time even says in the chat, not a huge fan of Punk like I used to be, but I'll never say it wasn't a really cool moment to witness. Yeah. I mean, I'm such not a CM Punk fan that I didn't even watch it. I saw part of the clip I saw part of it. I saw part of it on social media. I didn't go back and watch it. I'm just not that interested. I'm just happy for those fans who were there, who experienced it. I didn't see anybody making fun of the guy who was crying. But I heard that was going on, and I was like, well, come on, man. I mean, if a dude's crying because someone's back, that's cool. That person's attached. Like, how cool is that for that guy who was there? He was moved that much. It's fucking cool.
Well, yeah, I already got a lot of backlash for crying, but I also heard that, what's his name? Tommy Dreamer was trying to find him and invite him to an event, and I think like a meet and greet even with CM Punk.
Yeah, I saw that he was tracked down. That there's one guy who makes custom shoes, not the Matcha guy who did all the Kofi and Becky shoes and stuff like that. It's a different guy who does custom shoes. He was trying to find the guy. I think they found him. He's gonna get like a $1,000 pair of custom sneakers. He's gonna get to meet CM Punk. He's gonna have like a private one-on-one with him. Like the dude's gonna be set up. I think he's getting tickets for the show tonight or whatever. So I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Take care of that guy. That guy's invested, and that's fucking good. Fabtina says there's a pic of Tommy End on Instagram and him and CM Punk at a mixed martial arts place, and Punk doesn't look thrilled. Well, he probably just got his ass kicked by fucking Black.
I was gonna say, he's in an MMA joint. Of course, he's not thrilled. He's scared.
Yeah, he's never done anything good in an MMA ring. So, I did think that was funny. I thought the one criticism that no one had but me, that I thought was actually like the most notable thing, was he told Darby Allin, he goes, "You try to do dangerous things. There's nothing more dangerous you can do than be in a match with CM Punk." And I was like, well, UFC begs to fucking differ. Dude was so bad in UFC, they fired the guys who beat him because they didn't beat him bad enough. They said, if that guy was this bad and you didn't knock him out, you're also bad. Like, that's bad, dude. If someone beats you and gets fired because they couldn't, like Dana White say, close the deal, that's how bad you are. You're so bad. Yeah, couldn't put him away. Either way.
Yeah, but he only lost once.
Well, they had to overturn it on weed, right?
I think it was weed, but yeah.
Yeah. So he couldn't even beat a dude who was stoned, probably. Either way. But
he was slower than a guy that was high off his ass.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's awesome he's back. I think that's exactly the fan base for him. I will say this about the ratings that I was surprised about. And again, fuck the ratings. And I know there's a huge movement to completely abolish Nielsen ratings, and I'm 1,000% behind that. But I did think, all things considered, I thought that Rampage was going to break 2 million because of the hype around CM Punk being there and all. And they got 1.129, and on the DVRs got 1.4 at the 4 days after. Which, by the way, as far as all those guys who report the ratings, they only report AEW's DVR ratings later. They don't report any for WWE, so they don't talk about the growing numbers on other products. So it's, again, one of those, like, fuck you guys, dude. Just be even. Just be even. But they barely broke 1 million. They still didn't do better than Raw, and I was actually really surprised by that. I thought this was going to be the one that would do it. Producer?
Micah's in the chat saying, glad you had fun at the events this weekend. That's not a match. UFC has fights.
Yeah. Maybe it is dangerous to be in a ring with CM Punk if he hasn't been wrestling in 7 years. Who knows? Kev, what did you think?
About what? CM Punk?
I don't know. I just said a thing about the ratings. The lack of ratings.
Yeah. I can care less about the ratings. Like, I think it's just like anything else. You know, you can skew the numbers in any way you want them to make yourself look better. So,
yeah,
I'm one of those that are behind getting rid of the ratings, and the best way to do that is not talk about the ratings.
Oh, I guess that's true. But I did think they would do 2 million. I'm saying that. I'm surprised. Either way, CM Punk is back and AEW fans are happy, and that's a good thing. As far as us WWE fans, the ones on the right side of history, no, it's fucking right. We got a couple of big returns too. It was a good weekend to be a wrestling fan because everyone got a little bit of what they wanted. They got to lose their minds over their faves. I love it. I love it, man. And I think that's the conversation people should be having. I don't know why people were going, who had a bigger pop, this person or this person? Does it matter? Like, did anybody not lose their shit in either stadium? Like, that's what matters, right? So,
that one guy that walks down the aisle pissed off.
Yeah.
Fuck, Becky's back. I really wanted Carmella to take this one. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. No. Yeah, somebody did. There's probably people who were pretty upset by that. But still, it's still, like, I mean, the other thing is this is just playing out numbers and stadiums. The United Center fits 15,000 people. The Allegiant Stadium fits 100,000, but because of how the whole stadium's set up, squeezes in 51,000. They're all losing their mind, but it's going towards a half of the stadium that's taped off for production. You know what I mean? For the set and all that. So it's like the audio is going to be different, man. You got 15,000 people losing their mind. You have 50,000 people losing their mind. Everyone's losing their mind. That's good. That's good.
That's good business.
It's good. It's real good. Dude, CM Punk apparently paid for those ice cream bars himself. I really thought he was going to make Tony Khan do it. Now that he's paying for himself, it makes me wonder. CM Punk's like, no, I'll foot that bill. You're like, I wonder what Cole Cabana thinks of that.
He got all that shirt money, so he's got it.
You got that shirt money. But yeah, that's that. I'm ready to talk about SmackDown. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, wait, there's one thing that Jeremy brought up in the chat that we'll go ahead and bring up because it just came out just a little bit ago, so you might not have even heard about this yet, Kev. But Pat McAfee did post that he got tested positive for COVID. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He says that he's fully vaccinated. He showed his temperature is like 104. He says he's miserable. He's happy that his kids and his family all tested negative for COVID, but he tested positive. So he's going to be out for a little bit of a while.
That sucks.
Oh, really sucks. Because as we're going to talk about here, Pat McAfee was a highlight of the weekend.
Yes. Yes, he was.
I really want them to bring Bayley in for the next couple weeks of SmackDown commentary. I want that more than anything.
Yeah, just roll her up in a wheelchair like the Miz.
Yeah. I mean, she's been walking around. She's got pictures of her going to places without a wheelchair. You could just have her sitting at the thing. And people would lose their minds. Imagine that. Imagine when we were there and they have the little walkout for the commentators. I mean, it was really cool to see Pat McAfee come out, and he brought a ton of energy, but imagine Michael Cole comes out, and then you get a Bayley pop. It's not even on screen, but people just get to lose their mind for Bayley. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, or if they just had a ding dong hello that was strictly on the stage, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you got to do. Put Bayley back on TV. Are you ready to talk about SmackDown?
Yes.
Get well soon. Get well soon, Pat McAfee. Cheers to Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Cheers.
Let's talk SmackDown. Dude, we were there. Live, front and center. 1,000 rows back. It's our version of front and center.
I mean, they still weren't bad seats.
They
No,
weren't.
we actually had the ring directly like in front of us. Maybe not close, but it was straight in front of us.
It was close enough. We could see their facial expressions and stuff. Like, I feel okay with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's
And we had
weird
a great
because
angle.
Marsh and I went to the Elimination Chamber, and we pretty much sat in a similar spot. But I think when they when they did the renovations, I think they took a lot of rows out right. And then all of a sudden, what used to be the 15th row is now the last row.
I could see that. That could be. Yeah, because it felt like we were pushed a little bit further, too. We were like it was up, like I feel like it was at a more incline, the seats, than this time. Because I feel like this one we were at like a higher angle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it was really cool. I did want to mention, because we were there live, that you did have the Michael Cole come out, and then you had Pat McAfee come out. There is something about Pat McAfee coming out to the ring, the way he was like hamming it to the camera that we can see that's not televised. He brings an energy to the stadium even when you can't hear him on commentary.
Mm.
Did you notice?
Yeah,
That? I thought he brought Go ahead.
Yeah, he just brought a bunch of energy out there. He came out like he was actually going to a match. Like he was like trying to pump up the crowd. Everyone was cheering when they saw him.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but when he first went out there, did he stand on the desk, like wave to everyone?
Yeah, he did that a couple times, and then you got the McAfee minute where he just gets the mic for a minute and talks some shit, talks about how much he loves Phoenix and how it's one of his favorite places, and no one's as hyper as Phoenix, and then talks about all the shit that Michael Cole says behind Phoenix's back. It's so fucking fun.
Yeah, that's funny.
Before we got on, he was saying this place was horrible. Like, it was so good, but. And then Michael Cole just kind of puts his head down and like shrugs, like, "What do you want me to do?" And so funny. But I felt like he brought a cool factor. There was something about Pat McAfee coming out, and the way he walked out, the way he was looking at the camera, the way he was hamming it to the crowd it felt like he thought it was so cool to be here, that this was a cool place to be. He made it seem like, oh, this is where you want to be on a Friday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
As
why
much
we
as
were
we-
there, because we wanted to be there.
Oh, for sure. But I feel like that doesn't get brought up much. Like, there's something about the commentary that it's almost static to the live audience. We've been to a bunch of shows, and there's times you see the commentators come out and you go, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I forget they're on commentary. They're gonna be doing it." They don't all bring this energy. Like, this is the cool place to be right now, and I really feel like he brought that.
I don't think any of them have ever brought the energy. Most of the time, it's like, them just walking down, waving. If it's Michael Cole or Byron Saxton, they're booing and stuff like that. The only one that I could remember that kind of got some cheers and he just still walked down waving to people was JBL. And I think it was just because he used to be a performer.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I just was impressed by that. I was impressed by that because we're even watching the matches and the show and I'm looking at commentary from time to time. I'm watching the commentary that's happening down there that I can't hear. And I think it's notable. I think it's important to mention. And the McAfee minute, like I said, was just incredible. I don't know, man. I don't know. I was impressed. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the show did open up with Edge.
You sound like South Park trying to do the Edge song.
Why you gotta say it like that, though, dude?
That's what popped in my head. Sorry.
What'd you think about this? Even live with all the cheering and stuff, I feel like we could hear all the right words at the right time and react. And even when he's facing away from us, I felt like we could still tell what was going on. I loved the way that at the end when he was like, "I'm gonna burn you down," the way he was shaking the mic made his voice like tremble like this echo, and it was awesome.
Yeah. No, he definitely brought, once again, like energy and some like just passion. Just you said, like, you know, he feels it, and he, you know, you can see like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. Like it throughout his body.
Yes.
You know, and he's just, you know, so into it, so into that moment, and I think it's great. You know, and I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, when he runs out there at his entrance, you know, give it to me, and he's like feeding off of it.
Yeah.
And then he just
he says that.
puts it back. Yeah, and then puts it back out there, and it's great to see that.
Yeah, 100%. Did you rewatch SmackDown? Because I rewatched it.
Mm-mm.
When he does come out, he does say that. He's like, "Give it to me, Phoenix. What do you got? Come on, Phoenix."
Well, he says that every time he comes out.
Oh, yeah. It was just dope.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing.
Give it to me, like he's like, you're welcome.
Yep. Yeah. What was that?
Goose Streams just followed us. Thank you.
Oh.
Haas00312 followed us a half hour ago.
Oh, wow. Thanks, guys. Cheers for that.
Nice.
Thank you for coming
Cheers.
through.
And
I'll
Goose
drink to
Streams is
that.
in the chat saying, "Ah, no review of AEW." That will be tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow night. We do Thursday Night Chasers. We review AEW and NXT. So we will be back tomorrow night for that, for sure.
Mike is in the chat asking, "Did you hear any weird chants over the weekend?" He's in our YouTube chat. That is also said, Edge's SummerSlam entrance was awesome.
Oh, fuck yeah, it was.
Oh, that was the best
I don't know about
thing. Like, oh.
Yeah. And the only chat I heard one time that I was like, this is stupid, was people chanted, "We want Wyatt" at Alexa. And I was like, that's not as helpful as you think. I was surprised we didn't hear one CM Punk chat, because I really thought that was going to happen this weekend because of this weekend, and it didn't happen once. I was surprised and happy.
Yeah. I think the best chant I heard all weekend was us trying to chant for Pat McAfee.
Oh,
wasn't taking
Pat
off.
McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
And if you
That
follow
needs
us
to be
on
a
Twitter,
thing.
if you follow us on Twitter, I definitely did post a video of them chanting like idiots.
Yeah.
They're here in Phoenix. Went up to Phoenix, and that crowd was awesome. I would say, I just felt like the vibe was very much like in the moment. You know, very, very just into what was happening in front of them, enjoying the show. And I kind of didn't feel that same way about SummerSlam. So
That's good. Well, we'll get into that, but that was a big fuck up.
Yeah, it was a fuck up. There's a number of fuck ups. It was just the size of the arenas. I think there's a different energy with smaller crowds, and I think Vegas. I think that if you're going to Phoenix to watch SmackDown, it's because you want to go watch SmackDown really bad. I think when you put a wrestling show in Vegas, the wrestling show can become an excuse for a lot of people. There was a whole row of people behind us at SummerSlam who did not sound like they wanted to be there at all. And I felt like they were only there so that way they could send pictures to people back home and say, "Look, I'm at the wrestling show," and so they can then duck out and go back into Vegas and make a lot of bad decisions. I feel like you have a different kind of mix of people. Some people are going to Vegas under the guise of SummerSlam, where no one's going to Phoenix to make a bunch of stupid decisions. Well, I mean, going to Phoenix itself is a stupid decision.
I beg to differ.
But yeah,
I've lost most of my money in Phoenix.
There was a great crowd for SummerSlam, so I don't know if you guys out there noticed. Yeah, good chance, good reactions. SummerSlam, a bit more of a mixed bag.
100%. Let's hit the chat real quick. Goof Streams says that he says he'll bet he'll be here for that, for the AEW show. He goes, also, what's your take on Brock being back and seeing him seeming to be a babyface now? I mean, we're going to get to that a little bit more wholly, but I'll say as bottom line, I think it's fucking fantastic. I'm really excited to have him back as a babyface or otherwise.
Yeah, this is the first time
Go ahead.
This is the first time I cheered that he came back.
Oh, yeah, I loved it.
I'm like, God damn it, he's back. Now I was like, yes. Like, there's so much more storyline, even though we're getting Brock and Roman again. It's like different Romans.
So different.
Even different Brock, really. Like, it looks like he gave a shit. Like, to me, you know, I ain't got much room to talk, but it looked like he worked out more and got rid of his little flab. I know he was wearing a shirt, but
yeah,
he just looked in better shape, I think.
He looked like an absolute badass. He looked like he was there to fuck shit up, and he looked like he was there because he likes to ruin Roman's day. And he's more happy to do that now than ever, is what it looks like. And it was awesome. I think that also the dynamic of Roman as a heel is not truly the same dynamic that we get with the heel babyface things, which makes it all that much more fascinating and good to watch. People are booing the shit out of Roman, and they love him more than ever. You know what I mean? He's doing such good stuff that it's easy to boo him. So it's going to be easy to cheer guys against him because all they have to say is like, you know, you're a prick. And people are like, yeah, fuck that dude. We love him so much, we're going to boo him. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I think that now's a good time for Brock to get that. He does say the Brock pop was amazing. It was, dude. And being live, it was insane. It was insane. He also... Go ahead.
I know we're going to talk about it, but I just love that, you know, after the match, there's so many people just leaving already. And then, you know, you heard his music, and I saw so many people, like, running back to their seats.
Yes.
You know, and they're like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, fuck. And it was like,
yeah. I love that we gave it a minute.
Yeah. I was like, wait for it. Something's happening. Wait for it. Goose Streams does say, also, did you hear about WWE removing a fan for showing a Bray Wyatt poster? I'm going to say, not only did I not hear that, I also, furthermore, don't believe that. I've been to a bunch of these shows, and I've taken signs they didn't want me to show, and what they say is like, oh, you have to leave the sign with us. That's it. Mm-hmm. If you are a dick and refuse any of that, that's a whole other thing. If you're an actual fan who's just going there to enjoy the show, it's not a big deal to be like, oh, yeah, I guess here's my signs then.
Yeah, they do make everyone like hold up their signs before they air just to see what's out there. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, I don't know if he's talking maybe about that moment of maybe when they showed the sign, someone had it and then they took it. I could believe that, but
yeah, and they're gonna tell you to take it down, or they're gonna ask you if they can hold on to it. And if you're an asshole to them, then they're gonna tell you have to leave if you're not gonna listen to them. And I think that's totally fine, because you have to be able to do that, right? Like, you can't have people going out there holding up signs that say "fuck USA" and "fuck Fox 2." Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah. Not these days. Oh. And if they say, hey, there's no positive thing about holding up a Bray Wyatt sign, you know what I mean? If you want to see Bray Wyatt, go to AEW or some fucking sign. Yeah, no, they're gonna tell you to stop. Matter of fact, they used to do it in the Attitude Era too. They used to tell people to stop holding up signs and take it. It's a matter of how you respond to to their request.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that was what I was gonna say is, you know, if that event occurred, like, I don't know if they, you know, the context of the sign. You know, I don't think they're going to throw out a fan for just having a Bray Wyatt sign, because I saw several people at SummerSlam even dressed like the Fiend. Mm-hmm. And we saw one in Phoenix too. So if that was the case, those guys would have been kicked out as well.
Yeah, we saw full-on Bray Wyatt Fiend cosplay a number of times.
Pants, everything, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw a shitload of Bray shirts. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy that they saw one Bray sign and said, get that guy out of here. They said, go tell him not to put up that sign. When the guy's like, no, fuck you, do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. I can do whatever the fuck I want. We're going to probably have to ask you to leave if you keep saying you're going to do whatever the fuck you want. Fuck you, fuck make me. All right, well, I guess now we have to make you. Like, those are your options when you start fighting with security. I'll tell you, as former security for live events, those are your options when it comes to security. Comply or leave, because at the end of the day, we don't want you spoiling the time of those around you. We don't care if you've wasted your money. We care if everyone around you feels like that they had their money wasted for them. So, yeah, fuck off.
Because of you.
Because of you.
The venue that SmackDown was held in Phoenix was awesome in comparison, especially to the venue that SummerSlam was at. So I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that too. Goose Streams does say, well, I'm so happy Becky is back. Man, he's like derailing the show like fuck right now, man. You know we're going to get to SummerSlam. Why don't you fucking stick around and have a drink?
Well, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe this is his first time.
Is this your first long time, first time? What's going on here, man? We'll talk about it too, but we are going to go through. We're going to finish at SmackDown, and we're going to talk about SummerSlam. We're going to hit all this stuff deeper than just the surface level. But
I called it. He said, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, he goes, "Yes, it is."
And my bad.
All good. All good. Well, I mean, if you want to join the chat and derail the show, twitch.tv/WrestlingTheRocks. That's how you do it. But he says, "While I am happy, so happy that Becky is back. As you can tell, maybe we have a few hidden Beckys on stage here. We're pretty excited she's back. I'm even having Rebecca
and
Creek
cheers.
whiskey."
Cheers to Goof Stream for his first time.
Yeah, first time having a drink with us. What's in your glass, Goof Streams? Let's see. He goes, while I'm so happy that Becky is back, I am wondering who Bianca made mad backstage, if she's battling an injury. I think it's neither of those, dude. I think, honestly, we're going to talk about it. I think all of that was by design. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think she's buried forever. I guess all you can say is see how it plays out to see if it's truly a horrible thing or was it a shitty moment to feed into other bigger moments. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's the last we see of Becky and Bianca. I think there's a lot of story that can be told there. We're going to talk about that. What do you think, Kev?
I was just going to say, I think the exact opposite. I do think, there's the rumors, or not the rumors, her and Sasha missed that live event, and I think this was fallout from it. I think Becky was set to return, but I don't think necessarily in that spot or capacity.
Yeah. And you can't put Becky out there on a big comeback against a title and not make a big moment out of it. Like, this was a big moment thing. Like, it's tough to say, right? Do you want to have a 20-minute match where Bianca goes down on Becky's return, or do you want to just make it all about the return? And I think that's the trade-off that you get. You either undermine the return in and of itself or undermine the match. I don't know that you can have both as strong, but maybe you can. I don't know. I've never booked a wrestling show. What are you going to say, Kev?
Well, I think, first Becky went out on Raw. Now all of a sudden she's on SmackDown. And people have been chanting at Charlotte, Becky, for the last few weeks, if not longer. So I don't understand why Becky wouldn't be coming back, challenging Charlotte right after she won.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I know people like to pretend it's not the case, but I think T-shirt sales and merch sales has a lot to do with decisions that are made when it comes to booking. And if you don't know without a shadow of a doubt who sells more shirts and more merch than Bianca Belair, like, I'll tell you right now, those reports come out and Bianca's not top 5. She just doesn't move as much merch. How are you going to have Becky be there and not be on top, especially in a division that has it the way it has right now? Like, it made sense when they kept her and Ronda apart and they had Ronda doing her thing and Becky was on the rise, but Becky's there now. She's not on the rise anymore. She is the top star in the company in a lot of ways. In some ways, she's a bigger mainstream star than Roman. I've had more friends of mine who watch zero wrestling ask me about Becky Lynch, this charismatic redhead that he sees on their other shows. Who's this? I had one friend text me, who's this beautiful redhead I keep seeing showing up from WWE on like whatever shows that she watches? And I was like, that'd be Becky Lynch. She's incredible. And she's like, yes, I love her. And then she's like, can I buy a shirt of her? You don't even watch the show and you want a shirt of her. You know what I mean? Like, Becky's a big, massive star. It would be tough to go in there and defend the idea that she couldn't beat Bianca. I mean, quite frankly, she sucker punched her and cheated. Like, more, I mean, she didn't like cheat, but she fucking sucker punched her. So I think there's a lot of story to go with it. And I don't think it's going to damage Bianca. I just don't. I think Bianca's too big of a star in her own right and too fan favorite right now, and too impressive that I think that I don't think we've seen the last of Bianca by any means. Producer laid something she had to say, and then we'll go to Kev.
Oh, I just love that so many fans had no inkling that Becky was trying to go heel until the dirt sheets came out with it.
Yeah, that was funny. Kev, what were you gonna say, and then we'll get back on track.
Yeah, well, I just think with Bianca, I feel the same way. I don't think her career is buried. Like, all these people are acting like, she's done. She's, it's over for her. That's absolutely stupid. For as many people as Charlotte has buried, most of them have come back. But
Good point.
like I said, my whole thing was, like I said, I just don't think this was the spot in which Becky was supposed to come back. You don't bring back Sasha, for basically just 2 appearances on SmackDown, and then basically a no-show at SummerSlam without an actual reason.
Yeah. How fast do you think it takes them?
Even
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if this was all kayfabe and stuff like that, where's the WWE exclusive? Oh, Sasha suffered a injury in training. There was none of that. Remember the whole shit with Shane, with that terrible knee injury of his.
Yeah, that was so funny. So good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. We're going to talk about it more when we get there. Goof Streams does say, my bad, it is his first time. He goes, he spots just a few Beckys and says he's having Coke and Jack. Most people say Jack and Coke. That makes me think it's cocaine.
Micah says, don't derail the show. Might be called toxic.
Say that again?
It's Coke with Jack.
Coke with Jack.
I think
with his
he's
friend
trying
Jack.
Mike is trying to be smart. He says, don't derail the show. Might be called toxic.
Derailing's toxic. Toxic Micah knows toxicity better than most. I'm going to be honest with you. That motherfucker. When I'm sitting there in SmackDown watching live, he's messaging me and being like, you can't even hear how good the commentary is right now. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Of course I can't. You think what you're watching is good? I get the commentary. Fucking dude.
Although, how cool would it be if they had some sort of like app or something where it's like, hey, listen live to commentary if you want.
I thought about putting in a headphone and putting on SmackDown on my Hulu on my phone just so I could
I was
listen,
gonna say,
but it's going to be delayed.
There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people at baseball games that have an earpiece in and they're listening to the radio broadcast because normally that's faster. And they're at the game but listening to it, with like 1 or 2, earpieces in.
Yeah. I was thinking about like drive-in movies, how they would do that. Remember, it was always like, oh, tune into this one station and you can hear what's going on your place. And I was thinking, how cool would that be if they're able to broadcast inside the building, where it's all like, download this radio app and plug in this QR code and you can listen live, or just give us QR code and like say, hey, if you're on our Wi-Fi, you can link in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that'd be cool. I'm alright with that.
That wasn't being toxic. I'm just a fan of cats.
Toxic Micah.
Well,
Defending
other
his
thing before
toxicity. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing before we get to continue back on the SmackDown, that I just want to give a shout out to Footprint Arena, formerly Talking Stick, will always be America West in my eyes. But their shop, the way they did the shop, where you can just order something from your chair and it was ready in the back. Like, you didn't have to wait in the merch lines.
Yeah.
It was merch, not for food or anything like that, just merch. And like, I got this shirt and I went to the bathroom and Marsh was like, hey, I'm gonna go see where you're supposed to go. I sent him a screenshot and was just like, hey, see if you can pick it up for me. And then he came, as soon as I was done, I came out and he had my bag. I was like, sweet. He's like, dude, there was no line. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I think more places
It was so
need
good.
to do something like that.
Yeah. And as I opened up the link to it, it was all like, yeah, that shirt's sold out as fuck. Don't even try. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Gives me a little finger emoji.
Micah says, Micah said in the YouTube chat, you legit messaged me about WWE's monster deals and say AEW's in competition. Now that's toxic. Laugh my ass off.
Oh, yeah.
Laugh my ass off.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, if you're going to be dumb about stuff, I'm going to throw it in your face. No doubt about it. Ugh. We're going to get a bottle of Old Crow. The problem is we just haven't had to because we're never wrong. I'm going to have to ship a bottle of Old Crow so that way Micah can drink Crow whenever we're right. because that dude's gonna. Do they sell them that big? Do they have gallons? We're gonna find out. Micah, sucker.
I wonder how much a barrel, just an actual wooden barrel,
Just
would
a
be
barrel.
of Old Crow. Yeah.
But check out Micah. Micah and D-Rec, I call him Derek, have specifically devoid podcast as well, which is a lot of fun. They have like 4 different spin-offs already, and they haven't gotten one down right yet. So it's really interesting the way they do it. But it is a lot of fun. All of their topics are all over the place. If you think we get derailed, just listen to a series of their shows.
Good people.
Yeah, they're good people. They're good people. We've had Mike on here before. Goof says he's going to sit down and not derail the show and wait till topics come up. Well, I mean, if you know the topic's about to come up, if you don't think it's going to come up, if you think we missed a spot, definitely shout it out. But today we are talking SummerSlam, Smackdown, and probably a little bit of Raw. But, well, as we keep going, after this we had Mysterio and Uso. So we had Rey Mysterio take on Jey Uso. The Mysterios came out in their new Wu-Tang Clan Mysterio shirt. Fucking love that shirt, dude. I love it. It's the upside down Wu-Tang, but it goes into the Phoenix. Like, this design on it is so spectacular. It's almost embarrassing it hasn't been made yet. But it says Mysterios. It's the upside down W, but on the edges it's the Phoenixes from the mask, and on the back it's a world, and it says making history. And I'm like, fucking great. And the M is again the same Mysterio logo thing. So it's just so fucking cool, man. I loved that shirt.
We'll see, and I like that shirt, but I hate the back. I hate the making history back. I don't like that at all.
Why?
I just do not like it. It's,
You talked
making
about how
history.
much you loved them as a tag team because it was making history. You talked about the
Yeah, but I
Griffies
don't-
and shit.
Yeah. It's good father-son duos. But I just do not like the way the world looks on the back. It's not aesthetically pleasing.
Worldwide.
That's what I said.
Micah said that his kayfabe episodes drop next week.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be on the show. Friends of the show. Show of the friends. Hashtag Mike is toxic. All right. We did have... So the match I thought was awesome. I love the storytelling of it. I love Charles Robinson catching Dominic fuck around and was like, get the hell out of here, you little fucking twerp. My favorite parts of this match were stuff we saw live that was not televised. Kev, can you guess what those parts were?
No.
Well, one of it is right. There was a Mysterio knocks out both Usos on the outside, and then Dominic rolls into the ring and starts being like, "Come on!" And then it kind of fades to black. Well, we got to see Charles Robinson like, "Dude, what are you doing in the ring? You have to get out of the ring." And I really liked his interaction with Dominic there. We had a bunch of stuff with the Usos fucking around with the crowd and getting them to cheer. We end up actually having Dominic chase Jimmy Uso around the ring like twice and up the ramp. And Dominic was so fucking fast that, like, they started, like, half a ring apart. And by the time they get up the ramp, Dominic's, like, on Jimmy's heels.
He held up. You can tell
insane.
he held up. Like, he's quick. Like, he had some closing speed.
Yeah.
That's what you want out of your
Absolutely.
safety. Like, he was on his ass. Like you said, there's a distance, and he was on his ass. And to me, it looked like he held up. And it was like, all right, keep going. Like,
I think he
yeah.
surprised Jimmy. I think at one point Jimmy turned around and like, God damn, like he was like, fuck, this kid's on me. The way that Dominic was running around the ring post, as he was getting to the post, he was grabbing the post and pulling off of him. It was so great. I was like, this kid is like trying to fucking catch that dude. Like, fuck you, dude, you're mine. And it was awesome. I loved it. But I love the match in general. I don't have a lot to say about it other than I liked it. Anything you want to say about it, Kev?
no, just same exact thing. I liked it. I like the little spots here and there. Definitely not done with them. So
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
Yeah, as we were live, the crowds were chanting for both. So, good reactions.
Oh, yeah. The crowd was eating it up. And then at the end of the show, the dark match with the Usos, Mysterios, Roman, and Cena. Yeah. Fuck, man. We'll talk about that. So
that was good.
After this, we did have Baron Corbin coming out, clutching the Money in the Bank. Pat McAfee says on commentary, this dude stinks and he's a scumbag. Fucking loved it. But we did end up with Kevin Owens versus Baron Corbin. And at one point, Big E comes out, tries to get his briefcase back. Pat McAfee on commentary, Kev. I heard it today because we played it back. He goes, He goes, that is a 6'6" trash bag on the run with something he does not own. As Baron was running away with the briefcase, and Michael Cole is like turning red, putting his head down, and laughing hysterically at the way that Pat McAfee is screaming about Baron Corbin, and I fucking loved it. It's the reason why I tweeted out today that, with all due respect to everyone and all of the legends that Michael Cole has been able to sit at the table with, I feel like right now Michael Cole's having the most fun of his entire career.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can definitely see it. They, excuse me, they have awesome chemistry, and, you know, he is probably having fun.
I think he's having so much fun right now. What do you think of the matchup itself? I really liked watching Corbin and Kevin Owens.
Good. I just don't know what they're doing. Like, I like what they're doing with Corbin. I just don't know why KO's really involved. Like, I don't like that. I think he's better than that.
Yeah, I think they're not sure what to do with Kevin Owens yet, and I think they just kind of keep putting him out there from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I get back and forth on that. Sometimes I think it's best to keep people off TV if you're not going to be doing something with them, because this story was clearly about Big E and Baron. It had nothing to do with Kevin.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I get back and forth where it's all like, do you keep Naomi off TV for a while until you know what you want to do with her? Or do you put Kevin Owens out there every week doing something that doesn't mean anything until you figure out what you're doing with him just to keep him in people's minds? Like, are you going for a return pop or just a we still love you pop? Like, when you do figure out what you're doing with them. And I think they have a lot of great talent that they're kind of keeping in their pocket. Like, we didn't see Finn Balor here at all. I mean, the last we saw him, he got fucking schlubbed off by John Cena and Roman from that. He was about to have a Universal title match. Then he just gets fucked around and then just forgotten about. But I do feel like Finn Balor's like their ace in the pocket. I feel like they're waiting for the right thing to fucking have him strike. I just don't know what that is. But I don't feel like they're burying him. I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It's difficult. We want to see our favorites all the time, but there's just obviously not enough time in the day for all of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth as well. Like I said, I don't think KO involves or should be in the storyline, and at the same time, I'm glad we got to see him. Whereas Finn, it was disappointing that we didn't get to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Even in a dark match, like, throw Finn out there. You don't necessarily have to, do storylines during dark matches, obviously, but it would have been great just to see him.
That's true. It would have been good. Actually, the dark match we had before the show was Austin Theory versus Ridge Holland. What did you think of that?
It was good to see Austin Theory because I haven't seen him in a while, and I thought that kid had has the it factor. Like, I think he's going to be great, and it was good to see him. So
yeah, I agree. I love Ridge Holland so much. I think he for one, Ridge is big.
Yeah, I did not realize how big he was.
He's a big dude, and he's doing crazy cool moves, like power moves like that you don't expect. He's not just doing the classic old Beal throw that all the big people do where they say, oh, I'll just kind of huck you. He was doing like crazy power moves where you could also tell, like, I mean, once you've been watching as long as we have, like, there's certain moves you can tell look safer than others. And there's also times we're all getting worked no matter how much we think we know. And we are all about getting worked. And we are all about the fact that we're not insiders. We don't know. There's a lot we don't know. But at the end of the day, there's sometimes you can tell if a move is like super safe when you watch it. As there's other times where you think a move looks really dangerous and you might find out later on that actually isn't dangerous at all. It's just the way they do it. But in this case, Ridge was doing a ton of these massive power moves that you could tell were all so safe because it was all like flat back bumps just in crazy fucking weird ways. It was just impressive. I love the dude. I think he could be a huge, huge star coming out of it too down the line. But it was really cool to see both of them. I thought they both worked really well together. And part of me wonders this. With them bringing over Tony, Rhea, we got Sheamus doing a thing. We got Walter coming over, it looks like. Ilya's doing some stuff on NXT. Pete Dunne's making a rise towards the title. I'm wondering if they're trying to bring more of Europe over because of their style.
Yes, sorry, producer lady here off to the side. As a really big NXT fan, I definitely
NXT UK fan.
NXT UK fan, sorry. I really see that because of what?
Is it the UC? NXT UC?
It's not what people say.
All right, no one says that.
No
All
one's
right.
ever said that.
Well, never mind.
That they are what you call the true developmental, and that they're not trying to make a brand that's like you're not going to move on from there. You know, their talent seems to really develop and progress, and I think it's like really evident because of the amount of people you see now that are here.
Yep.
On the big leagues, as it's called, I guess.
Yeah, we got Tony Storm, we got Tegan Knox, we got Dewdrop. We're getting a lot of UK over, and I do think that their style is incredible. And I mean, if anyone didn't watch Walter Dragunov, either one of them, go back and watch whichever one you missed, or watch them both tonight, because those are matches that you watch and you believe. It's incredible. So, Goof Streams does say, hey, I've called it the NXT UC like you said it, so you're not the only one who says it that way.
Yeah, and that's kind of my favorite bit about watching NXT UK is that you could just have casual fans watch it and they would think, oh man, that really looks like it hurts. Not like, oh, well, it's just fake. Because I'll tell you, that Ridge Holland and Austin Theory, I was like, man, people were cheering for it. This was not a silent match. This wasn't like, oh, everyone go away, get your popcorn. This was people being like, damn, that dude's really, really laying it in.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, they're beating the shit out of each other and no one's even watching.
No,
yeah.
We waited for the Street Profits to get our popcorn.
We did. That's a good point. We didn't skip this match. We found a match to skip.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to keep it going. We got Tegan Knox and Shotzi came out. They had a match against Tamina and Natty. I really liked this match. I thought it was good, but yet again, Tegan and Shotzi got the win over Natty. Natty was holding her ankle. We did not see them at SummerSlam. I thought this might lead into a SummerSlam match, but maybe Natty being 3 weeks out of a surgery on her ankle, which got fused and shit, maybe they're just trying to see what she could do. It does put Tegan and Shotzi in the number one contender spot. I feel like it's not a stretch to say it looks like they're going to put the titles on Shotzi and Tegan. They've beat the tag title holders 3 times now, fairly. It's about time where it's getting ridiculous that they don't have the titles. As much as I love Tamina and Natty, and I do, we've talked about them a lot on this show. I believe it was episode 1 is the first time we talked about them. We've talked about them clearly through episode 1, because this is where every show is our first show. All shows are episode 1. The idea of them holding on to the titles much longer when you have Shotzi and Tegan being billed the way they are seems a little bit silly. But I do want Natty and Tamina to continue in the tag titles. I want them to be the people you have to get through to get to the tag championship. You know what I mean? Like the gatekeepers of
Yeah.
that. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, they're both good talent. They have obviously the family history, and I think they need to be involved. But at the same time, I think Natty needs to fully recover from her injuries, because, like you said, it seemed like it was still bothering her. Yeah. And excuse me. And I'm trying to think of the last time that they actually defended the titles.
Yeah.
Is that Money at the Bank or Money in the Bank?
Probably.
Yeah, now you
And I
do
think
have.
I was just gonna say, other than that, I think, Natty went down. Tamina fought a couple times by herself, and then whenever they've tagged together, they've lost to Tegan and Shotzi, or Shotzi and Knox, and those are the only time I can remember offhand, that we've seen them recently.
And I think it's totally fair. Like, I think it's actually a good story. The idea, I mean, I know a lot of people want to shit on rematches and stuff, but I do think that there's something about, like, hey, beginner's luck. Hey, is this really all that? Hey, they tagged briefly in NXT. I think this really does start putting Tegan or Shotzi and Knox on the map as, hey, they're on fire. I think it has built the story of them as being deserved of the championship and not just someone who got lucky one time. You know what I mean? So I actually have liked these matches. I thought they've been very good. Something else occurred to me during this match, Kev, as I rewatched it. This is the perfect team of Shotzi and Nox. Shotzi was the one getting her ass kicked, and Nox is the one who's doing all the moves to get the comebacks, which in this particular match, the layout wasn't exactly that, but it occurred to me watching it. The issues we've had with Shotzi on NXT and times we thought she looked sloppy is when she was trying to do too much, when she wasn't slowing down. If you're feeding her to Natty and having her bump, Shotzi bumps like crazy. She can take a fucking bump. She's not afraid of bumps, and it's awesome. This is the perfect team right now because Tegan can execute those moves, but with her knees the way that they've been, with the injuries that she's had, maybe you protect her a little bit, keep her out of the ring until the comeback, keep Shotzi in there taking these impressive-looking bumps. I think that's why they've been working so fucking well as a tag team and looking so great out there.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Like, protect the injury-prone one, and then because that's the whole point of a tag team is that somebody that has a weakness, you put them with a partner that, you know, helps them cover it up or overcome it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, protect the one with the prone to injuries, and slow down and rain down the one who's potentially going to kill herself by trying too hard and slow. And the idea that they're in the ring over and over again with Natty and Tamina, how much are they learning right now that they're just, like, their minds are getting blown? I bet, you know what I mean. Like, I'm loving this. I love this just because I know that in a couple years' time, Shotzi and Nox are going to be who they are because of this rivalry right here. Producer, something you want to say?
As much as we love Natty and Tamina, I could see them taking it off of them if Natty's not feeling 100%, only because of the amount of live events they're doing now. They're not just doing Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views. They are going all over the place. If you follow any of the social medias, you'll see the refs, you know, they're going from one place to the next. Yep. So the talent really does have to be, I feel like, 100%. And if they're not, I mean, what's to say that they're not going to get re-injured during one of those non-televised events? So maybe this is the safest bet.
Yep. Getting some ice.
We want the ice. We
Ice,
want the ice.
Shamey. Dung, dung, dung.
We want the ice.
All right, after this, though, we did have Seth Rollins come out and cut a promo, dude. I loved this. I loved how the crowd was chanting for Edge, and he goes, "You guys already got Edge. Now you get me."
Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome.
I loved it. Yeah, and during Edge's promo, he did say, "You've made me go to a place where the blood runs black." And during this promo, you have Seth in all white, and I thought, that's a bit weird he's wearing all white. He usually wears much more flashy stuff, but you know what? It still kind of works. Then it happens.
He has to get it in before Labor Day.
He's got to get it in before Labor Day, because after that, he can't use that suit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have Seth cutting an amazing promo.
Sorry.
I love how he gets fucking pissed at the crowd at one point. He goes, "You already heard from Edge," because I started chanting for Edge again. He goes, "You already heard from Edge. Now shut your mouths and listen to me." And he's like fucking fuming. And then he just kind of looks back at the camera and smiles. And I was like, this fucking maniacal, crazy son of a bitch. Like, this is one of my favorite Seth's promos we've had in probably a couple years. Since his babyface run, this is probably one of my favorite promos of his. The details he has in this, the way he's interacting with the crowd, he's on such a high level right now. But he's doing his thing, and then it happens. Boop, 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 boop. Flames, Brood music, Edge on the screen. He says the thing that the Brood used to say about how the freaks come out at night. Beware, take care, because the freaks come out at night. And then boom, the Brood bath falls on Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring. Peanut butter smelling and all. Boosh. Gadoosh. Covered where the blood runs black. All over him. I thought, hey, it's a little fast to go from one promo and then halfway through the show have a payoff for that promo. But I'm going to allow it because I love everything that Seth and Edge are doing right now. What did you think about all this, Kev?
Oh, it was all great. You know, we were sitting there and, you know, when the Brood music came off, forgot who it was, but they're like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "It's the fucking Brood." Like, I was excited, you know, and
oh, was it your
I was
buddy
waiting
next to you?
It might have been. and little Gabe next to me.
Little Gabe.
Yeah. But I was waiting for the fire ring and stuff like that, and then then Edge gets on the big screen, but the splashdown and everything, it was just great. Like, everything was so great about it. And we even said before on our pregame that we thought this match might be the one to steal the show. And I think the reason why they went kind of so close back to back is because they didn't want to take away from the main event.
Yes.
Of, Cena and Roman.
Yeah.
Because, any other time, I think this closes out a SmackDown. That kind of, back and forth, the nostalgia there, the history, like, I think, I loved it. There's just not much more to say about it.
100%. You were in the arena, right, when they started cleaning up the mat?
Yeah.
Because I ran to the bathroom thinking it's going to take them forever to clean out this mat. You want to tell people what that was like being live because a lot of people asked me. I got messaged by people saying, "Hey, how would that fucking go?" I was on I'm a not Sam shill for Sam Roberts, and so I joined his Patreon, and we have Zoom calls, and in there people were asking me specifically, what was it like when they cleaned it up? And I kind of repeated what you had told me because I didn't see it myself, but I want you to tell people what it was like, how they cleaned up the mat.
From what I just saw, it was just pretty much a clean, like, mat switch real quick, and then just people on the outside with towels, right?
Gabe mentioned that they swept up a lot of it, that it came right up off the canvas. Oh, go ahead, producer. You saw it.
Yeah, it looked like there were anywhere from 20 to 30 people that just ran out there. They were sweeping. It looked like they were mopping, like with towels or paper towels. I wasn't sure. They were doing everything they could to get it cleaned up before they rolled up the mat. And
then, and I heard that the stuff came up pretty quick, too. Like I said, I'd stepped away, but it reminded me, I worked, I forget where it was. Now I think about it, I think it was Discovery Zone. I think when I worked there, we had a powder that we would throw down.
There's a lot
when
of
kids
things.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's a lot of things to mop up at Discovery Zone.
Exactly. You'd have kids who would, like, expel stuff. And there was a powder we would throw down on any liquid, and it just made it all sweep upable. And it was the craziest, coolest stuff, and I've never seen it again, but it was definitely there. We would just sprinkle the powder, give it a few seconds, and then you could just sweep it up and it's gone. And it was perfect every time. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had that shit out there just, but but they were telling me they just swept up most of it and it almost all came off. And I just wonder if that was part of it, but it did come up right away. I
wonder if it's like similar to the stuff that they sprinkle after like car accidents.
Yeah.
To get the gas and stuff like that absorbed.
Yeah. More or less like a kitty litter type thing, but
yeah.
But that was a really cool moment. It was just awesome because it was not what we expected. We were there and we're like, well, I didn't expect to see the Brood tonight, but it was what it was. It was really cool. Let's see. After that, we did have Montez Ford in a match with Otis. Montez Ford came out in chalkline shorts, sneakers, and socks, and it was really weird. The match was okay. I'd stepped away. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to mention this. You and I, we stepped away when we knew it was going to be the Street Profits because we're like, oh, perfect. We can skip this. We don't like them. We thought, collectively, oh, it won't be very busy in the concourse because a lot of people enjoy the Street Profits. They're big fan favorites. We just don't like them. Those lines grew huge. The concourse filled up with people.
Yeah, it got packed. It was almost like at the beginning of the show, it felt like.
Yeah, it was insane the amount of people who came out of the arena. And then we heard the pop that the Street Profits got, and we thought, that's when it occurred to me. Because the same thing happened at SummerSlam when I avoided Drew's match. I thought, oh, I'm going to go hit the lines now that Drew's going to come out because no one's going to be out there. Well, those lines got real big real fast, and everyone was all like, oh, yeah, I can't stand Drew. When I think of guys like the Street Profits and Drew, who we think sound like they're big and over, and they probably are to a number of audience members, but the people who don't want to see them aren't in the aren't in the bowl. They're not there.
Mhm.
The people who do want to see them are there. That's why you only hear cheers, is because everyone who would boo them fucking walked out. They went to the bathroom. They went to the merch table. They went to go get snacks. Like, it was something to think about. Like, I couldn't believe that I wasn't alone out there with Street Profits and Drew on stage. I thought, oh, these people are massively over. I hear the crowd reactions all the time. I just don't get it. No, it's just the only people who stayed are people who want to see them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Because, you know, going to a live event, especially WWE, you know, we have a few drinks. You know, you gotta pee and whatnot. So you wait for your moment. You know, it builds up and you're sitting there like, oh, I gotta go. Oh, I want to watch this part. Oh, I want to watch this part. And then you hear, you know, oh, Street Profits are coming. They're like, down my spot, you know, like the water boy. There's my bitch. And you take off. And like, seriously, the lines reminded me of halftime at like a football game, where everyone's like, cool, that's the end of the half. I gotta pee. And all of a sudden the lines are ridiculously long. Everyone's trying to grab something to eat, go to the bathroom, you know, buy a shirt or something like that. And I'm on the same page with you, where it's, oh, this is why you hear the cheers, is because the only people that are staying around at this point are cheering for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, dude, 100%. I think that was, to me, eye-opening, because we haven't been to these live events, and we kept thinking, oh, what are the crowds going to say when they have to see these guys? How are they going to react? And when we went to the bathroom during what we believed were fan favorites, I was like, oh, the people who don't want to cheer aren't there to boo. Bottom line, that's it. But it was not like it couldn't have been 50-50. If there was just like, if you weren't allowed to leave your seats, I think you're talking about a 50-50 crowd on both those guys. Which to me is a shock. I was shocked.
I started booing from the bathroom, and it's just because the line got long.
Yeah. Boo.
Hey, boo, hurry up.
Were you sure were you booing or pooing? Oh. Woo.
Yes.
All right, I guess I'll go find the chat. Let's see here. Jeremy does say, I'm mostly just tired of the repeated Street Profit member versus Otis matches. The reason I don't mind it, Jeremy, is because I don't like the Street Profits and they keep losing. So, it's the only reason I don't mind. But I hear you. Otis's face is getting smaller by the week, though. I don't understand that. Let's see. After that, we had Shinsuke and Rick Boogs in a tag match. So we finally got to see Rick Boogs wrestle. What'd you think of that? It was Apollo and Commander Aziz against Shinsuke and Rick Boogs, and Shinsuke and Rick Boogs won. What'd you think of it, Kev?
I thought it was a good match. You know, first time seeing Boogs perform. It was kind of cool seeing it live. You know, I'm sure he did some live shows and stuff like that. But, you know, I thought it was all right. You know, that's probably the one match that I'm definitely saying, hey, I want to re-watch this from SmackDown just to see exactly how, you know, he did, and, you know, from a camera and commentary point of view.
Yeah, the commentary on it was great. It was good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. He was a little more silly than I was hoping he was going to be, but it worked. It all worked. And Pat McAfee did a great job talking about stuff. He's like, is he wearing, like, jorts tights? Like, it was good.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot to say about it other than it was pretty solid, all things considered. Let's see. Then Bianca comes out and she has a match against Zelina and then Carmella in a back-to-back match, which Zelina did a solid job in looking like a coward. Carmella, I'm going to say it, dude. Tell me what you think. I think Carmella is incredibly underrated. I think she's almost criminally underrated by the fans. People talk about her like she's not a top-tier wrestler there. And to be quite honest, she's smooth. She's accurate. Seemingly, she's safe. We've never heard about anybody getting injured in the ring with her. She plays to the crowd fucking wonderfully. She feeds off their boos. She's one of the best heels that the women have right now. As much as we have a ton of women heels right now, She's one of the best at it. Tell me what you think, because I was watching this match, like staring at it today, because I was like, I've heard even this weekend people saying Carmella's just awful and she's a terrible wrestler and she's not good. And I was like, am I blinded by something? And I rewatched this with those microscope goggles on, and I'm like, I don't know, man. She's pretty flawless from what I can tell. Tell me, Kev, do I have rose-colored goggles on, or in this case, leopard print goggles on?
I sure hope not. No, I agree with you. I think she's great. I was a big Carmella fan when she was the moonwalking, trash talking son of a gun or something like that.
Yes.
I've always liked her. I never liked the rebrand, and I think this is where a lot of people, might have a problem with it because they're focusing on other things, and they're not focusing on her wrestling or her athleticism. I think if they, put her back in normal gear, because I used to love her gear back then, the pants and stuff like that. I think if they put her in something, something else, she might be able to showcase her wrestling because people won't be distracted by other things.
They could be distracted. I think also Bianca doesn't look as powerful in this match without Carmella being as fit as she is. Like, Zelina is so small, you can look powerful. Anyone looks powerful against Zelina. This one, Carmella's not tiny. She's just as tall as Bianca. You know what I mean? She's got a lot of muscle. Like, this is definitely one of those matches where it takes two. And I do think that Bianca and Carmella work so well together because they can make each other look great. Producer, something you want to say?
Oh yeah, I'm a really big fan of hers, and I have been for quite a while. I follow her and Corey's podcast, Bear With Us, and I do feel like this, like her outfit, this character is very much tied to like her personality just naturally. Like, she likes to feel sexy, she likes to be empowered by that, and I kind of think that's what she's going for. Hey, I can be beautiful, I can be strong, I can be smooth, I don't have to be just one thing. So that's kind of why I'm like, okay, like, I'll roll with it, we'll see where it goes. But I think she's really, like you said, killing it. And I know you tweeted out that she knows her role, and I think that's the part that people really fail to notice, that she did grow up, loving wrestling. Her dad was a quote unquote jobber, and she never looked down upon that. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. She didn't care because he was still wrestling legends on TV, so I think as long as she feels that she's getting a response, the response that they want, I think it's all good to her.
Justin Time brings up a good point that I liked. He goes, the only thing that annoys me about Carmella is the fact that she taunts after damn near every move. Other than that, she's a pretty good wrestler, definitely underrated. Justin just admitted to getting worked. Did you catch it? Justin got worked. He goes, she annoys me. She's obnoxious. She taunts after every move. She just, that's the role. She did it.
Take your shot of Take your shot of Old Pro.
Yeah. Isn't it great to get worked? I love it. Dude, and that's not a knock on anyone. That's not a knock on Justin. I love Justin. I've had him on this show so many times, and I want to have him back. What I love about it is that she knows how to be obnoxious. She knows how to get the crowd booing, and she not only, her character is so self-important. She does one little thing good, and it's all like, see how perfect I am? She even was telling the crowd, you're welcome. And thank you when they were booing her. She was doing stuff. She's like flipping her hair and she's like, thank you, and bowing. She hasn't even done anything. She's like, thank you. And they're booing her. And then she does something and says, you're welcome. I'm here. Like, her character being so self-important, regardless of how many matches she loses. Like, you're welcome. I'm here for you now. So fucking good. And she's so obnoxious. She sucks the energy out of the crowd in a way that other people can't, in ways that need to be done. You can't get a big babyface reaction if the energy level for everyone is high. You got to bring the energy down so people can bring it from their gut and throw it back up,
I do kind of part of me thinks that if she ever has to get paired up with a guy, I would love to see her with Baron Corbin, just because I feel like they're the ones that people just constantly boo when they're in that role.
Yeah, she's so good, and the way she just eats it up, you can see her just laughing at the boos. She loves it. Justin does say, "Hand me the crow." He's like, okay. Yeah. My only problem with her is I feel like booing her when she does. But yeah, so I loved it. I thought this was a great job, and yeah, I think that she's absolutely underrated, and no one's giving her the credit she deserves, I don't believe. But that brings us to the main event here, and then we can move on to SummerSlam. We had a face-to-face John Cena to Roman Reigns. This was a fucking dope-ass promo back and forth, and one of the things that I thought was fucking crazy, Roman says at one point, "Don't you understand, John? I beat people so bad that the WWE has no use for them." He made a reference to the idea that everyone who's getting released are people he's beaten. Like he beats people so bad the WWE says, "Well, I guess just release them." Like, fuck, dude. Like I thought I was like, seriously? You're going you're cutting deep, dude. And obviously there's a bunch of people from NXT that he never fought and all of that stuff, right? But what a fucking line. I beat people so bad that WWE doesn't have a use for him. So he's referencing the releases. I thought that was sick. I know you had you took issue with him saying either I'm leaving as Universal Champion or I'm leaving WWE. It bothered you. Tell me what you thought about it overall, though, and then you can talk about that, Kev.
Overall, I thought it was great. Like you said, the back and forth was awesome. Roman mentioning, Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan, basically hilarious. Yeah, when he says, either I'm winning or I'm leaving WWE, it was one of those where, he didn't say SmackDown. Because if he said SmackDown, there's if he loses, he'll go to Raw type of thing. He just said WWE flat out. And I know people in the past have said it, but it was like, well, we know Cena's winning now because Roman's going nowhere. Yeah. And I didn't like that at all. To me, it foreshadowed way too much to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I felt like it did. I did feel like there was a world where Roman could lose and he would heal his way out of it. Maybe just not be on TV
never
for
on
a
the
while.
Contracts.
Yeah, talk shit about the contract that they had, which was phony. Say something like, "Do you think that they would really let me do that? They have stock to sell." Just really play into the corporate side of it. I could see him doing it, but it did really feel like, okay, I could have used a little bit more gray area, but I don't see it as a definitive. I still thought there was a possible world that could have that. You know what I mean? But still, yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just didn't like it because it was like, well, Roman's winning, that's it. That's basically what I got from it. So, and I know WWE can backtrack a lot of times, but to me, that was like too much.
Yeah, I get you. But we also know that John Cena never gives up. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, it's tough. He doesn't give up. Got my never give up towel right here. He's not giving up. I'm going to write that off now. Do you want to talk about SmackDown or SummerSlam, I mean?
Yeah. I just want to talk about the dark match.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that just briefly. So there was a tag match of Roman and the Usos against the Mysterios and Cena. It was not televised. And goddamn, if the crowd wasn't shaking the stadium.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't believe the reaction Cena was getting. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that was by far the loudest match outside of the Becky pop. Just pure match, loudest match of the entire weekend.
Yeah, 100%. That dark match, the stadium, I could feel it under my feet was shaking. When Dominic was the one getting his ass fucking handed to him by the Usos and Roman, and it was so good. Dominic sells so well. They were
Oh, when the Usos were doing the Eddie Guerrero shoulder shake.
yes.
That was great.
Dude, the amount of times they would just slam Dominic and Dom would have to just sit there and sell while all three of them would go up to a corner and pose. Just over and over again. It was such a slow-paced match, and it was so fucking exhilarating. And the crowd was absolutely on fire. And every time Dom got close to tagging in Cena, the stadium would start to rumble. Like, physically start to shake with people screaming and yelling and stomping and trying. Like, come on! It's all they wanted.
Tag him in.
Yeah. Between SummerSlam and Smackdown, I thought we were at an Oregon State game. The amount of green and yellow that was just out there, dude.
Oregon. You got the wrong university.
I don't know
Oregon
which
State's
one's different.
orange and black. They're the
Really?
Beavers. You're thinking of the Ducks. Yeah.
The Ducks. There's a different.
Yeah.
There's an Oregon that's not a state.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Sports
Oregon.
have got to get their shit together, man.
You should have said the Packers. Everyone knows green and yellow for the Packers.
Sure, Packers too. All of them. It was the Packers
This is
home.
why- This is why Marsh doesn't make sports references.
Yeah, it was like we were at a Packers hockey game. It was like
Yeah. Amazing.
incredible the way those corn husking Packers. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. The amount of fucking John Cena gear and the way the crowd was just fucking losing their minds over him. As much as I knew I was excited to see him, and I was wearing a Cena shirt for SmackDown. But like at the same time, I was like, God damn. Or was I wearing a Cena shirt for the other day? I don't remember. But I was wearing a Cena shirt one of the days. It was insane, man. Absolutely insane. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than I think John Cena's pretty popular. Anything else you want to throw out there, Kev? Did I lose him?
He's frozen?
He looks frozen on my side.
All right. Kev looks frozen.
I better send him a message telling me he's frozen.
So we got another technical difficulties. Y'all
Difficulty-
can take a drink.
Yep. Technical difficulties. Take a drink.
And we lost him.
We lost him entirely?
Yep.
He'll be back. He's probably having to restart stuff. So, yeah, the crowd reaction, Just Time says Kev's a mannequin. He's just frozen with anticipation. He's just starstruck by the thought of John Cena. The amount of green and yellow in the crowd was absolutely insane. I thought we'd see a good amount, like especially like kids and stuff, but there was a lot of people who were wearing that gear. And then when we got to SummerSlam, the amount of people, if they weren't wearing the green and yellow, they were wearing some other John Cena gear head to toe, wristbands, armbands, and hat. I saw a bunch of the reds and the blues and orange, like a bunch of people were here just to see John Cena and support John Cena, and I thought that was just fucking tremendous and so cool. We'll move it on over to SummerSlam while we wait for Kev to jump back in. Talking about SummerSlam, though, the beginning of the show for us was a bit tough to get into. We get to the arena just talking about being there in and of itself. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. We parked at the Mandalay Bay across the street to walk. And they had a ton of people directing traffic on how to park and where to walk. And we ended up walking down there and then getting turned away by the bag not being small enough. They wanted 4x6 bags or clear bags only. So we ended up having to go and check in a bag, and that took a while. So we ended up missing the kickoff show. Kev, you saw the kickoff match between Baron Corbin and Big E, or no?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it?
I mean, it was good for what it was. You know, just the struggle for the briefcase, basically. And yeah, I mean, it got the crowd, you know, into it a little bit. It's a storyline that people are invested in. So, you know, when they got to see it, like I said, it just got the crowd going.
Yeah. Big E won, I imagine?
Yes.
Okay, that's all good.
And I'm
All
pretty
good.
sure he got his the briefcase back.
Yeah, I've been seeing a ton of videos from Corbin ever since they got to Vegas after the SummerSlam, where he's been betting and gambling. And according to his latest video, he's got all of his riches back. He gambled his way back up, and so he's on the upswing. So we'll see how that goes. We missed this match. Meanwhile, while this match was happening, producer lady is in line at the bag check, like Che Guevara, trying to raise up a revolution. She's like, "Women, we need to rise up."
Yeah. My Latina heat was coming out. I was so pissed, guys.
Furious. She was like seeing women with bags, like, they're going to turn you away. They will turn you away with that tiny little bag.
I was, y'all, because here's the thing. I had no issues during SmackDown getting through security. I had a small bag. It was fine. There was no problem. In and out of security, less than 5 minutes probably. This stadium made us get in this long ass line that they were going to charge $20 per locker. Mind you, it's like 98 degrees outside, okay? And we parked like a mile away. So it's not like I could just run back to the car and leave it in there. So they were basically targeting women and parents. I heard that they took away diaper bags. There was a father-son, both of their backpacks, and it was just really crappy. I thought this was a really crappy way to start a really fun pay-per-view. And I know it had nothing to do with the actual, with WWE, but the venue itself, man, this was a scheme. And I bitched so much that the dude did not charge me.
Oh, it was great. The dude's like, look, we don't want to ruin your whole fucking life because of this. We're just going to do it. And she's like, women were targeted. Women, we must rise. And they're like, yeah. It was incredible to watch the whole thing happen. She had a little Sami Zayn hat on. It was insane. She was the great liberator of women's baggage.
Yep, I still got to write my long-ass email to them, too.
Oh, she's going to write a fucking email. You better goddamn believe that email's coming. Justin says, I heard there was a shit ton of issues going on in the arena that night, and there was. The POS system went down at one point. And by one point, I mean for the entire show.
At a venue that does not accept cash.
It's the only venue that doesn't accept cash as far as the NFL is concerned, and their digital credit card machine system went down in almost in entirety. We found one merch table that was still able to take my money, and goddamn, they took a lot of my money. But food, snacks, drinks, you were fucked after the first match. Kev, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like half hour in is when the Wi-Fi, as they called it, went down, and and I think that's has a lot to do with the crowd reaction on a lot of things. Is people weren't drinking.
Yep.
You drink more, you yell more. Facts. And it was terrible. Like they ended up at one point just saying, all right, whatever you guys want is free, obviously, except for the booze. But they were giving away sodas, hot dogs, water. I ate this chorizo dog. It was really good, but disgusting at the same time. But like I wasn't able to get a SummerSlam shirt. All the merch tables were, not accepting anything. We had cash, and with everything going, contactless and like you said, cash free stadium, like they were fucked. Yeah. I kept talking to one of the buddies I went with, and I was like, the revenue that they're losing right now is ridiculous.
Insane.
The amount of revenue like not only are they not making money from everything, now they're giving away the product for free.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, like, there would have been a goddamn riot happening.
One of our sections in regards to what Toxic Micah and his toxicness was asking earlier, any weird chants? There was a weird chant during this show. One of them, 3 or 4 matches in, the section next to us started chanting, "We're still starving."
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because we didn't actually have dinner there.
Oh, we ended up eating
We didn't
afterwards. I mean,
Yeah.
it's lucky that the second we walked in, producer goes right over this to the bathroom and immediately goes and grabs 2 big SummerSlam cups filled with water only and not even drinks, just water.
Well, I didn't want the soda.
Right? We didn't want the soda, and they wouldn't give us beer, so it was just water.
They couldn't put beer in it.
And got a bag of kettle corn and a bag of red vines. And if it wasn't for that, we would have had absolutely nothing the entire time. So, and it was good that it was water, because if it was something that was dehydrating, we would have been fucking dead in there. Like, it was like I was sucking on ice by the end of it.
They were giving away all that shit.
It depended on the area. Our area, the lines for getting the free shit, when I did see them, were really long, and people were just taking everything they could, and those places closed down quick. By the time that Becky even came out, all the places over where I was completely shut down and cleaned up.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And one bartender did tell us that it wasn't just the stadium. He said that he got a text from the bar he works out on the strip, and that they also were down. So he said multiple places on the strip. So whatever company they were using for the POS systems just like went down.
Went down at the worst fucking time, especially in Vegas when you have this going on and the Pacquiao fight, and I think there was a Jonas Brothers concert. Like, fucking hell. I will say though, there's somebody who
there's a
tweeted
UFC event too.
On a UFC event. Like, there was just so much going on there.
Yeah.
And then someone tweeted out that it was a national issue, and when I mentioned that to somebody here at the cigar shop I work out here, they said Saturday night, and I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, our POS system went down. They're like, our credit cards, we couldn't take any credit cards, cash only. And I was all like, oh, that's crazy. So like, it was a bigger issue, and it wasn't isolated to Allegiant, but in that moment, sure as fuck felt that way.
Because that's where we were, and it like it sucked. Like I said, I'm pissed I didn't get a SummerSlam shirt or anything like that. Like,
yeah,
it was.
I wish
terrible.
I'd known. I'd have told you where the one table I knew that was selling stuff was, because there was a few tables on. There was 2 tables on my section that were selling stuff successfully through credit card, but all over the place there was a bunch that weren't. It was insane.
Yeah, and then that's the thing that sucks too is, you know, obviously the stadium's new. They've only held a handful of events here because they were supposed to open up last year, and obviously COVID and stuff like that. But they need a backup system, because, you know, to sit there and say we don't accept cash at all, no one brought fucking cash.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, the people that actually had cash, they still couldn't buy anything.
Couldn't buy shit. Yeah. 100%. And what was it? Where we were at before? The Superstore. We went to the SummerSlam Superstore, which didn't have much stuff, and it was really disappointing. But I went to them with cash. I brought hundreds of dollars in cash so I wouldn't have to use card. And they're like, oh, we don't take cash, and neither will the stadium. And I went, interesting. So, yeah. I'm sure COVID plays a role in it for sure, but it's one thing to say, hey, let's tell them no cash. But then it's another thing to say that we are incapable of taking cash even if the credit card machines go down. You know what I mean?
Well, then they wouldn't have change.
That's true. Well,
it's one thing but I'm saying, like, if you had the drawers available but said, hey, don't use them, but we're going to have them here, and you had change, you know what I mean? Like, hey, let's do it like we would, but we're going to tell people we don't. Just so that way there's a backup if something goes wrong, but there's no backup at all. So, like, I hear you, it's an annoyance, it's all that stuff, but it's a little weird because, yeah, they lost a shitload of money on this one. Let's see. But as the show got going, because of the lines being what they were and the situation that it was, I didn't even get to see Orton and Riddle take the Raw Tag Team titles off of AJ and Omos. Did you get to see that match?
Yeah, I saw that match. Good match.
I saw the very end of it.
Yeah, I was waiting for the end to be Randy hitting Omos with the RKO. But, you know, AJ took the loss. I was like, whatever. And to me, it was almost the right thing to do. Like,
yeah,
it was a predictable thing to do, the right thing to do. Like, as much as I like AJ and Omos, you know, they really haven't done shit with the tag titles.
Yeah.
And I think truthfully, I think you're asking a lot of AJ to be like, hey, take this nobody or no one that no one's ever heard of, and, carry him along.
Yeah.
Because almost he doesn't speak really. He's a badass dude, but I think it was just a tall task, and like I said, they just haven't done anything with him. So if I had to put like the highest wager on any match of the night, I would have definitely put it on this one.
Yeah, they're definitely building towards these guys getting the championship, and it's probably a good move. I'm just not excited about it because there's no tag teams in Raw right now but Viking Raiders and New Day, and we haven't seen much of either of them. So
I don't know, where's
what it
Kofi
was.
at? Is he
Don't
hurt?
know where
Or...
Kofi's out. I don't know. He posted a picture of himself flexing today, so he looks all right. Let's see. As we keep it moving, though, after this match, we did have Eva Marie lose to Alexa Bliss. Lily was slightly involved. I will say, Kev, I did go back and rewatch this. Lily didn't do anything, really, but Eva Marie did slap Lily around. I actually thought this match was solid for what it was. This wasn't a garbage match. This wasn't terrible wrestlers wrestling awfully. Alexa did a great job carrying Eva Marie through this match. They told a bunch of story through it, and it ended up with Doudrop turning her back on Eva Marie and taunting Eva. This was actually pretty well done, all things considered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I had no problem with it. I wanted, especially because it was the big four, like I wanted Lily to do something more.
Yeah.
Or do something at all.
Mm-hmm. I did feel
she
like
kind of
missed the mark
winked at.
there.
Yeah, I think she winked at Doudrop. It was whatever, but I think going into a big four pay-per-view, she needed to do something.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, it was good for what it was.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody looked bad in it. Like, Eva Marie didn't look like garbage in this at all. She looked like solid. I think anybody who's shitting on this match right now decided before watching it this was going to be the worst match ever and didn't see anything but what they wanted to see from the get-go. Anybody who objectively watched it, honestly, this was fine. There was nothing wrong here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you were like...
Go ahead.
Oh, but if you were like a lot of the crowd that was just screaming, this is garbage or this sucks.
We want Bray.
Yeah,
Riot.
I mean, really, what you want is you want Alexa in different gear. You want it, like, okay, you don't care for this character, but just go go get popcorn. Like, it's really easy.
Yeah, it was weird. People felt.
But you
to stick
couldn't get
around to shit on it.
popcorn. That was the problem.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Then they even the amount of people just trying to chant "You can't wrestle" and it hasn't even started yet. You don't know what Eva Marie can even do, really. Let's be honest. She's done very little on Raw. This was actually a fine match by two people who know how to wrestle. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong here, and people were being shitty about it just because they wanted to. That's all.
Yeah.
But it was fine. You know what I mean? It was what it was. We're moving forward. Damian Priest won the U.S. Championship off of Sheamus in a really good match. Sheamus also one of the all-time greats that no one talks about. He turned this crowd around. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was so great with this crowd.
Yeah. Jeremy is saying, everyone seems like all they want is the goddess character back, which no thank you. I way prefer this Bliss. For sure. I prefer this Bliss in a lot of aspects. I think people they don't want anything to do with Eva Marie. And they're getting worked by Eva Marie's character.
I got worked.
Yeah.
When she first came out, I'm like, what the fuck's this? She said she's going to wrestle. She doesn't wrestle, this and that. And then Marsh was like, you stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they got me.
Damn it. Yeah, 100%.
Give me the crow.
Yeah. Miss Raptina's in there. They just want sexy Alexa back. Yeah. They want Alexa to wink at the camera and stuff. And it's like, come on, man. Also, just appreciate what you're getting right now. Yeah. But did you notice during this match, the crowd was pretty fucking dead for Damian and Sheamus? And at a certain point, Sheamus starts doing those big fella chops on the chest, those big boom. People start counting, and he just stops, looks at the crowd. And he starts going,
Yeah.
no, you don't get to get in on this one. No, you're not going to
Yeah,
shit on my match and then chant along with the count. Like, he stopped it.
Yeah, what is it called? The 10 Bells of the Valor or something like that?
I think that's right. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's...
But yeah, no, that was great. He's boom. They're like 1, 2, and then he's like, nah.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely drew the crowd in. Then all of a sudden the boos rang in.
Yeah.
And it definitely turned around the atmosphere of the match or in the
100%.
stadium. Because everyone was with Drew. They were just sitting there, you know, still pissed off about the concessions. And then, you know, he did that, and it was like, and I was like, all right. And, you know, that I think was, you know, the most underrated move of the weekend. Like that, just simple little heel, like, nope. And then all of a sudden, like I said, all of a sudden the boos came in and the crowd got into the match.
Yep. 100%. The crowd got into the match. And when finally Damian Priest won, the crowd went ballistic. Sheamus is completely underrated as I think he's one of the top 10 best at doing what he does right now. He's incredible. He turned that entire dead crowd around himself. Because the other thing is this, is Damian Priest is coming with a lot of excitement in the ring. He's not bringing a lot of that crowd control the way that Sheamus has it.
Yeah.
So Sheamus, in a lot of ways, carried this entire matchup. And that's not to shit on Damian at all. He's still figuring all that stuff out, and I feel like he probably would have been overwhelmed by this, and Sheamus was all like, nah, fella. You know?
Relax, fella. We got this.
Yeah. No, we'll get him. And he found the moment, and he got them, and he reined them in, and it was fucking incredible. I was sitting next to my brother, and we're watching this happen. All of a sudden, we looked at each other like, he just fucking grabbed the entire crowd by the fucking shorts. That's amazing. That was followed up by the Usos against the Mysterios. Dude, I love the Mysterios gear here. It was Macho Man inspired. Did you catch that?
Oh, yeah, the stars and
the
pink and yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was just a great match.
It was, like, I loved it. I loved their gear. It just, to me, it just kind of felt like awkward placement. Like, just a random Macho Man spot. Like, there was no, like, story or history behind it. You know what I mean? Like, even if Dom said, hey, one of my favorite Macho Man moments happened in Vegas. Sweet. And then all of a sudden you got the stars on the trunks. Awesome. Because it took me and my buddy a minute because we looked and I was like, what the fuck are they wearing? And I'm looking and I'm like, oh shit, they're Macho Man. Because I saw the stars and then we were like, all right, sweet, now they're badass.
Yeah. The stars gave it away for me too, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about the match. It was good. Liked it.
Yeah. It was good for what it was, and yeah, because that was the first match that the champions retained, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Because that was the other thing that kind of made me nervous was it was like, you know, belt switch, and then that match happened. And then I was like, all right, well, it's the first one that they didn't switch, but made me nervous for the rest of the night.
Yeah, didn't know what was going to happen.
Yes.
And speaking of didn't know what's going to happen, the next thing that came up was Bianca Belair comes out. Greg Hamilton gets on the mic, says Sasha Banks will not be competing tonight. They even aired a whole hype package with Bianca and Sasha and their whole build-up to the match. They let Bianca get all the way to the ring, and then they say Sasha's not going to be here tonight. This is the part where I went, Carmella is top tier, A-level, the absolute best at what she does. And what she does is she knows how to work the crowd. She knows how to suck the energy out of a crowd in such a crazy cool way. Because here's the thing. I know they're getting a lot of criticism for this, and I want to know what you think.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying that they should have just had a good match. I don't know if a 20-minute match makes a difference. I don't know if you have Becky Lynch come back and not look super dominant to get the story really revved up. When we talked about Kofi losing to Brock Lesnar, everyone talks about how shitty it was because he never got a rematch. But no one talks about how much they loved Bobby Lashley beating the absolute shit out of Kofi Kingston a pay-per-view tour ago for 15 fucking minutes where he doesn't get any offenses and just gets his fucking ass handed to him. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather the Band-Aid method of just get it over with and catch a quick one. Carmella comes out knowing full well what's happening. She knows that everyone's hoping for Sasha. She knows that everyone wants someone bigger than Sasha, and she knows she's not bigger than Sasha. So she goes out there with complete self-importance, complete self-awareness, ate up the booze, smiled at everyone, waves at them, "You're welcome. Aren't you happy to see the most beautiful person in all of WWE?" Gets all the way up to the ring and just shrieks out, "Hi, Bianca!"
But it was before that. It was Greg Hamilton saying Sasha is, unable to compete. And then there's this pause.
Yep.
And then she's like, Bianca's opponent tonight is another pause. And it was like, it was like, oh, fuck, here comes Becky. Here comes Becky. And then it was like, the most beautiful woman in the W. And you're like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit. You get pissed off. They had you at such a high, being like, here it is. Here's the spot. Then they drop it down. And then we're sitting there. Carmella walks out,
takes her time.
Does the evil queen wave, like, hi guys, hi, it's me, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then she gets in the ring, does that, screech to Bianca. They sit there, they're face to face, and you're, the whole time you keep looking back at the ramp. Somebody coming, nothing. It's like, all right, fuck. Waiting for the bell to ring, and then all of a sudden, boom. And holy shit, did that place erupt. Yeah.
Dude,
they had you at, sorry, I was going to say, they had you at such a high when you expected Becky, then they brought you all the way fucking down, and you're like, well, this is what we're getting. And then in a matter of a split second, they had you at the very top that you've never been before. Just holy shit, and it was great. I think they did that perfectly.
They had to do everything they could to suck the entire energy out of the room. Remove all doubt that this is going to be the match they get. Because like you said, Carmella's taking her sweet-ass time getting to the ring, and you keep looking up the ramp. There's got to be someone coming. She gets into the ring like something's got to happen. They took their time to get everyone in that arena comfortable to the point where they start sitting back down. People are starting to walk away to go to concessions because they're like, fuck this. And then boom. Bah!
Oh.
Fucking, you couldn't have had louder screams because people were screaming from like the depths of their disappointed souls. You know what I mean? Like, Carmella knew her spot here and played it to absolute perfection. Without Carmella playing it that way and without them waiting for that moment, it wouldn't have been as big a reaction. That was the biggest possible reaction. I think some people were disappointed because they really were looking forward to Sasha and Bianca. But I think overall, most people couldn't believe what they were getting. And Becky comes out in a shirt. The man back in Vegas. So fucking dope. Becky Lynch comes back. So now here's the thing. Here's where everyone gets upset. Becky goes for the handshake. They do the back and forth. Oh, let me do it. She beats the shit out of Carmella. It's all good. But then she lays it in on Carmella. She looks at Bianca and says, I'll be right back. She goes in and really fucking beats the shit out of Carmella, then comes back. She goes in for the handshake, sucker punches Bianca, manhandle slam, and gets the 1-2-3 in a matter of seconds, gets the title.
That was the rock bottom. She hit her with the rock bottom.
The rock bottom and the manhandle slam are almost the same.
No, that was
They're very, very close.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But the crowd got unglued. They were confused because Bianca lost. Bianca was showing there crying and confused. She got sucker punched. She got taken advantage of.
And,
go ahead.
And see, and this is what brings me to that I don't think this was, planned. Because, I don't know how good of an actor Bianca is. But to me, this was the, sure, she was playing it up like, oh, I lost. But when she was on the runway and she had the tears in her eyes, and to me, it was the guilt of, I fucked up. I missed that live event. Because like I said, why bring Sasha back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could be getting worked, and that's fine. I'll take the shot of old crow if we find, but I just don't think, like I said, with Becky, people have been chanting at Charlotte that they want Becky, and they only do it to her. Unless they're holding that off until Mania or something else, which goes to it. But like I said, to me, like, Bianca's tears is what persuaded me. And if she's acting, great for her. She's doing a great job. But
yeah,
there's only one other time I've seen Bianca have tears, and that was when she was overcome by the WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, 100%.
And for her to come out and then just all of a sudden cry on Hugh again, like, maybe. But at the same time, it was like, to me, that was the instant guilt of, I fucked up. I'm the reason why I'm not champion right now.
Yeah.
And to me, real quick, also, that's the reason why we had the match that we had. Sasha's not there immediately. You have bookings, and I don't think they made T-shirts, but I think I don't even know the poster. I haven't even seen the poster. But
they had T-shirts
such
for
build
Bianca
up.
and Sasha.
Yeah, see, and I don't think you do that if it's just a squash.
Yeah.
Especially with Sasha not even showing up, and then you have the squash as punishment, saying, hey, you need to be on your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, and here's the deal too, is that I think that now you build towards Bianca and Becky, where you don't just get a surprise Bianca Becky. I mean, and when we look at how long this show ran anyways, it was like 4 hours long. If they had like a 5-minute, 6-minute match, okay. But maybe it's better off do a really quick thing where you can now build towards an actual solid match for the next pay-per-view, where they can put in the time, because we know Becky can go.
Yeah, but like I said, at the same time, this is why I think the original plan was Sasha and Bianca, because this is the WrestleMania of the summer.
Maybe.
Excuse me, and WrestleManias are 5 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the same time, hey, all right, well, we can cut back a little bit on Seth and Edge.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But I think now you build towards Becky Bianca, and it becomes a bigger deal, and you have a better match. And I think it's just how you get there. And I don't have any problem with any of that.
Yeah.
So, let's see. After that, we do get Drew McIntyre defeating Jinder Mahal in a match that I did not watch because I was at concessions. While again, the concourse filled up with people who also made mention that they were excited to avoid Drew McIntyre's match. I did rewatch SmackDown and still did not pay attention to this match, so I don't have anything to say about it. What about you?
You mean Raw? But yeah, I didn't give a shit about this match. I also went to try and get concessions, but I think that's when they started handing out shit. They're like, here, so my buddy was like, hey, let's get back to our seats, and I was like, I'm good, just eating my chorizo dog up here, and I did.
Yeah. This is when I got the man shirts. I picked up 3 of those Man is Back in Vegas shirts, thinking that they would only be sold in the stadium at all, but it turns out that they're selling them online now, and I'm a fool. So
yeah, the pre-order, and yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. Did you get one in large? I'll buy it from you since I didn't get a SummerSlam shirt.
No, we didn't get one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it on pre-order now. Pre-order it, dude.
I know. I probably will.
No. And then after that, we had the triple threat of Charlotte beating Rhea and Nikki. And this is another showing where I think that Charlotte shows how much she's not willing to work with people. I've heard someone say that it's obvious that people aren't on Charlotte's level because their timing isn't on point with hers. But when I watch, I don't see it that people aren't able to keep up. I see that she cuts people short and expects them to overcompensate for her, is what it looks like to me. She comes up short all the time, and people have to overcompensate, where other people work with each other. She makes people work to her, not to her level, just literally physically to her. I'm going to be right here. You get to me, no matter what.
Yeah.
Where everyone else is like, we're going towards each other. So it makes all of her matches look shitty and phony and makes everyone look worse around her because she just tries to blow off that fucking confidence of it all. Kev, tell me everything you thought about this. I'm going to step away for a couple seconds, so keep ranting as much as you want.
Ooh, the Kevlar minute. Here we go.
The Kevlar minute.
So let me tell you about Las Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I absolutely hate this. I hate that Charlotte won again. But we've also talked about it in previous episode ones that we've seen other people have matches with Charlotte, and Charlotte doesn't look better because it's Charlotte. Charlotte makes the other person look bad, and that other person, and it's been a few, quite a few of them. We've seen them against Bayley, and they both look good. It's weird that Charlotte doesn't make people around her better. Charlotte is only worried about herself looking better, and it's evident. This whole thing fucking absolutely just pissed me off. Charlotte beating Nikki, like I thought for sure it was to make Nikki look stronger as a champion, beating Rhea and Charlotte. Even if Charlotte didn't take the loss, that's fine. But it's such a waste of money in the bank. And they've done that often. The Otis last year, not winning or winning it and then not even having the chance to cash in was fucking stupid. But Nikki getting it, crowds behind her, cool. She won the belt. Holy shit, everyone's excited. And we've even said she's almost basically had 50-50 bookings since becoming the champion. And Charlotte is now just burying her again for no reason. Yeah. And I just don't get it. I don't understand why. Like I said, it's a waste of money in the bank. And I understand, you want people to boo your heel, but I don't think they're booing Charlotte as a heel so much as they're booing Charlotte because they're just sick of her and the gimmick and everything's given to her.
Yeah, Charlotte doesn't look better by making herself look good. She looks better by trying to make others look shitty. She sabotages everyone she's in the ring with. I'm going to do something that makes you look like an idiot every time. And so, yeah. But at the same time, the crowd fucking popped for her, and it really bothered me because I was like, this is bullshit. But yeah, I couldn't have cared less about it at that point. I was really hoping this was going to be Nikki's win to solidify her as a face of that division because, to be honest, Charlotte as the champion of a division has never made a division look better. It's only made the division look weaker 100% of the time. Every time that Charlotte has the championship, people go, well, yeah, but now the division looks worthless. But they don't say it in the way they think they are. They're going like, oh, yeah, who can beat Charlotte? No one's good enough because she doesn't make anyone look like a contender. Not because the talent's not there. Because when Bayley's champion in the same division, everyone looks like a contender because she makes everyone look good.
Yeah. It legitimately reminds me of, and we've said this about Goldberg matches and Roman matches, where it looks like somebody's playing a video game. Mm-hmm. All it is, power move, finisher, power move, this and that. With Charlotte, it's not so much that, because she can put on some matches and put on some moves, but it's, hey, only I can control the belt. Yeah. It's a 12-year-old kid playing 2K22 when it comes out, and I'm the champion, no one else can be the champion. Oh, this and that. at least with Charlotte, she's lost it a couple times just to get her reins up. But it's, hey, you know, this is me. I'm the champion. I'm the champion. I'm the focus. That's it. And it's not entertaining. And, you know, maybe I'm getting worked, you know, because, you know, I don't know Charlotte as a person, but it feels to me that she's give this to me because I'm Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like the millennial attitude, if you will.
Well, and
I
we can talk
deserve
about it
this
now.
because I'm.
Yeah, just because I'm here. But and we've been talking about it here just because there's not much to say about it. But then Charlotte cuts this promo on Raw, which is just as bland and robotic as every other promo she ever cuts about nothing and doesn't matter, and she sounds terrible. And she even breaks from the script for a second to say something to the crowd, and then you can hear her go right back into her robotic cadence where you can tell that she's just reciting lines that she's practiced 1,000 times and sounds terrible. Then this. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say real quick, this is where AEW fans complain about WWE. Oh, they're too scripted. They're too scripted. Yeah, when you look at Charlotte, yes, they are too scripted. This Charlotte promo sound like two promos that she couldn't make up her mind about and decided to do both of them. That stupid gap where they did her music and her, you know, pyro. When that happened, I was like, cool, that was short, whatever, go. And then she keeps talking.
Yeah.
And then the thing that got me, now I can't even count now my reigns on my fingers. To which makes me think Charlotte has 11 fingers.
She's got to have 12.
Now she's at 12.
I thought she was at 14, she said.
No, she said 12.
12 now? Okay. So
yeah,
she got
so
11.
I was like, she has 11 fingers. So I kept, like, throughout the rest of the promo, I kept looking at her fingers. I was like, no, she only has 10. I can count 10. But yeah, it was bad, and the promo fucking pissed me off.
Yeah, it was fucking trash. And then you get Alexa comes out, introduces Lily to Charlotte. Charlotte makes a stupid face like a child would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
A 12-year-old playing 2K. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Justin Time says at this point they're literally just making up for titles they took away from Charlotte. That's what it feels like with the whole NXT thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I just don't give a shit. The idea that Alexa's going from a program where she's helping build Eva Marie and Doudrop's storyline to Charlotte, unless Alexa's going to win it, I don't want any part of it. I just don't. I don't care about Charlotte as a champion at all.
I don't either. And I think this is the problem is they take the, you know, I don't want to say hottest, you know, look-wise, but the hottest character on women's character on Raw, and okay, we're gonna put her up against Charlotte, and it just they're coming from two different worlds right now. Yeah. You know, Charlotte, you know, Alexa's never been into the titles as this character. She briefly mentioned it once and kind of went for it, and that was it. Yeah. I think it was during the elimination or Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And you know, because Alexa's character doesn't need the title. And the only problem that I had where I think it could have been a little more impactful was at the end of Alexa's little promo where she's just like, I just wanted to say hi. You know, I wanted her to hold up her hand like she was like almost going to wave to her and then do the Alexa fist thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, hey, I mean business. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, I think that would have drew me in a little more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just, I don't know where we go with this that makes a difference unless Charlotte's about to lose it to Alexa. And then to sit from there to see where we go. But at this point, like, this was one of those matches where at the end of it I went, yeah, I guess I don't care about Raw at this point. I cared about Nikki as a champion. I really did. But Charlotte as a champion, I could not care less about. I'm not interested in her promos. I'm not interested in her matches. I'm not interested in her interrupting other people's matches. I don't care about her on commentary. There's nothing. I want Charlotte to go away for a year and then come back where I might be able to say this is different. But everything she does is so much the same as everything else.
And we hoped for that.
Yeah.
We hoped when Charlotte was gone for that little bit that she's going to come back and be different, and it wasn't at all. Wasn't that when they threw her in with Asuka.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, you guys are the tag champs.
And then she did an interview where she's all like, I've never taken this long of a break, and I feel like people really got the chance to miss me. And I was like, I feel like I didn't miss you one fucking bit. I feel like we didn't get there yet. I
It's
feel
just
like
like
we
the
could
Street
get there.
Profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have gotten there, but we just didn't.
Yeah.
Well, as we keep going through here, though, the last 3 matches in SummerSlam were all memorable for different reasons, but the next one was Seth Rollins versus Edge. Edge comes out. So Seth comes out first, and it was really cool. He did his thing, and as he's coming out, I don't know where you were if you could see, but we could see them wheeling out that whole fucking contraption they're going to have Edge come up in. I started tapping everyone around me. I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to fucking happen. So Edge comes out to the Brood music. He does a Brood entrance, comes out from a fire of smoke with the old glasses on. Part of me thought, I wonder if Christian's at home watching this and going, fuck, that'd have been cool. Can you imagine?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Edge came up and right behind him was Christian in that frilly shirt that he used to wear?
That's what me and another buddy talked about. Where he's like, if Christian held off and all of a sudden him and Edge came up out of that, or even stepped right behind it, it would have been like, wow, like holy shit, here we go. Obviously, they couldn't do Gangrel, but it was amazing. Yeah. And then when he walks out and then he does that like pause, I was like, why is he pausing? And then he goes down, and then you got the "You think you know me?" I was like, oh, we got both. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. The fact that Edge did 2 entrances was fucking everything wrestling fans love, dude. This is wrestling. Yeah. Give me 2 entrances. So fucking good. And this match I thought was incredible. I loved the finish where Edge has him in that like crossface kind of thing. Seth breaks the hands and starts smiling and laughing like he got one. And then Edge just grabs his head and starts slamming his head into the ground. Just brute force, fuck you, dude, I'm going to slam you around. And then gets the pin. It was incredible, dude. I've watched this match a couple times now. I want to watch it again. I can't get enough of this match.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I did love the Seth smacking, Edge smacking Seth's face into the mat like that. Yeah. Like, to me, when it was going on, the only thing I could picture was Vince talking to John Cena about ruthless aggression.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Dude, Edge used the glam slam from Beth Phoenix. I loved when Edge goes for the spear and then Seth counters it with a fucking pedigree.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Incredible, dude.
Like, yeah. I think we nailed it when we said that this was the, might steal the show, and I think it absolutely fucking did.
I think this was the best wrestling match of the night, yeah. Yeah,
the match, the Becky return was one thing. Oh, shoot. I dropped my AirPod. The Becky return was obviously, I think, the biggest pop behind Brock. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then Brock, but actual matches, yes, this was
the match.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that ought to get studied by people. People got to look at this one. This is incredible. Oh, yeah. This is everything we've hoped for so many years. You know what I mean? Every time someone always said, oh, can you imagine the matches that Edge could have had if he was still around? And Seth always came up, and then they did this, and they actually fucking delivered in every aspect. It was incredible. They lived up to their own hype, which is insane. Insane. To live up to your own hype.
I was going to say, you don't get that often in wrestling, where you live up to the potential and the build up.
Yeah. 100%. On a similar but different note, Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley lived up to a hype in a sense. This match was terrifying to watch.
Yeah. I mean, coming out to it, I looked at my buddy, and we put the over-under to be about 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it went over.
Yep.
By a lot. I was surprised.
Me too, because I thought that this is one of those matches that could have been 3.5 minutes and be a good match. You just have 2 big dudes slap each other around and just call it quits after a few massive power moves.
Yeah,
Like-
literally beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, just do the fucking thing. But they wanted to do a bunch with it. It looked like Goldberg spiked Bobby on his head at one point. It got real sloppy real fast. This was not good, man. This was bad. And then I don't know if Goldberg was working the knee or not. I don't know if I got worked, but it looked legit to me. He limped and asked people to help him on the way back, even after the cameras were off. So he sold it all the way through the curtain. If he didn't, at the end of the match, I mean, the ref has to stop the match. They don't even get a clean finish necessarily, but it's ref stoppage. Goldberg's kid runs into the ring, gets fucking hurt locked by Bobby. Then MVP's all like, look, he couldn't have known.
Yeah. Well, see, and this is where I do think you were getting worked. Because I don't remember which ref was reffing the match, but he never put up the X.
Mm-hmm.
You know, normally if a star can't compete, you know, you throw up the X, it's done. And the other part that got me where I, you know, thinking you got worked was Goldberg's little army crawl to, you know, go over his son and protect his son. And I was like, I mean, I can think of a few different ways to limp over there with a bad knee instead of army crawling.
Yeah. Do you think they worked an injury for ref stoppage to protect Goldberg because he lost his last two matches? Like, he can't just keep losing clean, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that has to do with it, but I also think that we're not done with this, especially after Bobby attacks his son. You know, we might not get it at Survivor Series. They might put it off for a couple months while Goldberg heals, and then, you know, Rumble happens, and it's like, hey, motherfucker, you attacked my son. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Do you think we get MVP and Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg and Little Goldberg?
I hope not.
Pat McAfee said on commentary,
GG.
he said that he's a sophomore in high school. That means he's like 15 years old. I want to see him in that ring against MVP. What if we do two matches? MVP versus Little Goldberg, 1-on-1, and then Bobby Lashley versus Big Goldberg, 1-on-1.
And then we have two bad knees in one match or two matches.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have two bad matches in one night. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Do it on WrestleMania. Kickoff show and then main event. Obviously, MVP and Little Goldberg is main event.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, naturally.
It's a 15-year-old child. As Dave Meltzer would say, we got to focus on the kids. So you put a 15-year-old for the belt. Dude, that tweet, oh my God. I laughed so fucking hard at that.
Really?
Ooh. Yeah,
No.
like, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, but Meltzer puts out that he doesn't think WWE is geared towards kids because the average age of the competitors, only two competitors rather, were under, was it 35 or 38?
Something like that.
And it was Dominic and Omos. And then, you know, the average age of viewer for SmackDown and Raw, because, of course we could tell that. Because, you know, who pays the bills in the house? The kids aren't paying the fucking bills, you dumbass. And, you know, he's like, oh, it's 51 and 56 respectively. You know, WWE isn't geared towards kids. And it's like, what? That's like going off the credit card statements of the people that bought merchandise. Yeah, because the 6-year-old kid is buying the merchandise. Fuckface. Like, oh, that tweet made me laugh and get so irritated at the same time. Like, stupid nonsense that you're putting out there, trying to, you know, you're fishing.
Yes.
You throw some bullshit on a hook and you're trying to get a bite. That's all he's fucking doing.
Yep.
That fucking irritated me. And go ahead.
I was gonna say the average viewership, according to Nielsen, for Nick Jr. is also like 40s and 50s because, like, you're right, a Nielsen household is monitored by the age of the bill, not by the age of the viewer. It doesn't know who's sitting in front of the TV. You can have a party for your son at his birthday, and they all watch YouTube all day, and it's going under your fucking info. No one knows that shit. Fucking relax.
That's why I get the emails Netflix suggested for you. I've never watched any of that fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Netflix, you don't know what I want at all.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw that
that's
tweet,
the thing.
that's why
Young people don't have a voice monetarily.
Yeah. That's why when I sent that tweet to you, I was like, this motherfucker. Like, I understand when you are trying to fish for catfish, you put fucking shit on the hook, but Jesus.
It's insane. The other thing about that shit, the amount of people, I don't even want to
That
say it,
buy
but I want to
into
say it
it?
so bad, but I'm not going to say it. But there's even talent out there who feed into that WWE's for kids because of Alexa having a doll, or because Miz and Morrison and their fucking stupid squirt guns. And I'll give you that shit's stupid. There's a difference between being family friendly, where a child and an adult can watch a show together and both enjoy it, like Toy Story,
And family oriented.
family oriented, and being adolescent geared. Like Beavis and Butthead is not a family friendly show, but it's also not for adults. You know
I
what
call
mean?
bullshit because I still watch that shit. I've been
Yeah,
trying to get
dude.
my kids to watch
Yeah, you can't get your kids to watch fucking Beavis and Butthead.
that.
Yeah. At no point was Beavis and Butthead geared towards adults. Never.
No, that's
But
why
it
I was
doesn't
on
mean
MTV.
it was a family-friendly show.
Yeah.
People mistake teenage years for being adults, and it's just not.
Yeah. But see, the other thing that gets me with said tweet from Meltzer is obviously everyone knows he's pro AEW, which is fine. But then I look at the comparison and I'm like, you know, because I hate the argument that if you're not WWE, you're for AEW and vice versa.
Yeah.
But with Meltzer, you know, he's pro AEW far and he hates WWE. Like, it's evident. So for him to tweet out something like this, I don't see how it's geared for kids. Like, we've talked about it, you know, behind the scenes, off camera type of thing. And like WWE, I feel comfortable letting my kids watch.
Yeah.
Obviously not Attitude Era. That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
But AEW, there's a lot of things going on there that I don't want them to see, or B, I don't want them to talk about. And I'm not ready for them to talk about because they're young.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, you know, you can't sit there and throw that bullshit out there and saying, oh, they're not geared for kids because of this and this and three false statements. Because how many people do you see on Nickelodeon? I don't know. I don't watch it that much. But, you know, how many of them are their demographic or their age? Yeah, they have kids on there. But a lot of times it's, you know, the teenagers that are geared towards, you know, the 6 through 10-year-olds. And, you know, the preteens, they have the high school kids that they're now watching. You know, there's older people portraying these actors. You know, look at Glee. How many of those people were in their, you know, mid-20s and 30s, and they're portraying high school students?
And even then, honestly, if you watch Glee, it's an adult show. They talk a lot about drugs and sex and stuff. They just talk about it around songs. It's one of those shows people thought was like, oh, this is a kid's show. But when you watch it, you go, the content here is for actually a lot higher. Like, we rewatched it recently, and we couldn't. It was funny watching because producer lady never watched it. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's for kids," and I was like, "Actually, if you watch it, it's really kind of not." I mean, there's one like in season 1, they make a joke where one of the girls says, "I don't have a gag reflex," and the teacher says, "That'll be a blessing in a few years." A kid's not going to get that.
Heyo.
You know what I mean?
I got it. Yeah, no.
But at the same time,
you know,
a kid's also not going to think about it, and they're going to hear the songs and move on. That's what I mean. There's difference between family friendly and being able to include children and adults. They're focusing on those high school years where kids want to watch things they know their parents don't want them to watch. And that's a very select number, and that's not family friendly, and it's also not adult orientated, because I don't watch the same shit I watched when I was 16 as I watch now, and I wouldn't. And I've gone back and rewatched things and said, this doesn't age well. We watch Attitude Era stuff, and we go, God, a lot of this stuff was bad. But at the time, it was the best thing ever because that's where our age was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But, and, yeah, it's... I don't know. What's funny is my mom actually started watching Glee.
Oh yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, have you ever watched this?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "It's really good." You know, my mom's not watching shows geared for kids.
No.
But see, and that's, off subject a little bit. That's why I appreciate, Shrek. And I'm trying to think. There's a few others that make adult references, but they bury them so discreetly that the kids wouldn't get.
Yes.
And it's like, cool. It's geared towards both, but at the same time, it's not apparent that, hey, this is what they're talking about, children.
Yes. 100%.
But
Where
anyways.
Glee says not having a gag reflex will be a gift one day, AEW would say, "Oh, since you don't have a gag reflex, I bet you suck dick real good." You know what I mean?
I thought they were referring her brushing her teeth.
Yes.
Because when
So
I
you
brush
get
my
all the way
tongue,
back.
I gag every time.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference there by saying,
Yeah,
"Oh, that's a
yeah.
blessing someday," and versus saying, "Oh, I bet you suck dick good," and that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I think that guys like Meltzer specifically and purposefully avoid that because I think Meltzer desperately wants to be relevant to the young age because he's desperately afraid of his own age. But speaking
Midlife
of
crisis
desperately
style?
afraid, what?
Did he? I said midlife crisis style. Did he buy a convertible recently?
Yeah, 100%. At least very minimal. But we did have Roman Reigns versus Cena, and I thought this match was fucking fantastic. Dude, there was just nothing wrong with this match. It was great. What'd you think of it?
The only thing wrong with this match was the outcome because I wanted Cena to win so bad, so I can say I was there for 17.
Yes.
Even though I knew I'd say 90% because 10% of my heart had that hope, but I knew Roman was gonna win, especially after the promo on SmackDown, like I said. But there was still just a part of me and like, yo, Roman's gonna take a break and fucking do some acting, go to Hollywood himself, take it off of him.
Yeah.
And I wanted Cena to win. I was a Jorts guy, and obviously it didn't happen, but it was a good match. Like it had both sides really invested. Every time you thought this was it. Nope. But wait, there's more. And they kept going.
Dude, so many headlocks and stuff between SmackDown and SummerSlam that got the crowd fucking crazy. Yeah, I just think this is perfect. I thought it was awesome. I thought Roman gave a lot to Cena. Cena gave a lot to Roman. I thought they both came out looking like fucking phenomenal champions. The only thing that pissed me off about it is the gear Cena walked out in. I was like, that's the coolest
Wasn't the green
Cena
and
gear.
yellow?
No. Well, for one, I get this fucking banner. I get this towel on the way out, and I was all like, oh, I'm going to fucking rock this. And immediately a day later, it's irrelevant. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But he comes out with that new gear, and I was like, this is easily my favorite John Cena gear I've ever seen him have. I want it so bad.
I thought the exact same thing because, as much as I want Cena gear, I don't want Cena on my gear. You know what I mean? Like, there's always just pictures of him, loyalty, respect, and I forgot the third one. I'm not very good at this. But trust, right? Honor. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he, there's always, cartoon figures of him, and I've never really liked it.
Yes.
But then I saw this one, I was like, holy shit, the Mario thing, everyone's had this gear thing. I like it.
Yes, loved it.
And
loved the shirt, loved the all of it, loved it.
Yeah.
And then it's $1,000 NFT, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. Because as soon as I saw it, I turned to my brother, and I turned to Gabe, and I turned to producer, and I said, well, it looks like I'm buying an entire Cena set. I'm getting the shirt, I'm getting the hat, I'm getting the towel, I'm getting the armbands, I'm getting that whole fucking thing. I fucking love it. Looked it up that night, and I was like, $1,000? I was like, come on, I can't.
Producer, what's that? Click, click, click.
Yeah. What's over there?
Somebody hacked our account.
Yeah. Oh, how could this happen?
Jesus.
Yeah. But it was what it was. At the end of the match, Brock Lesnar comes out, ponytail, fucking beard. How did you describe this version of Brock?
He looked like fucking Goro. He just needed 2 more fucking arms, and he was fucking Goro. And I fucking loved it either way.
Incredible. Dude, what do you think about the people
I-
online who are saying that he looks out of shape?
Yeah, those people are retarded. Excuse me using the R word, but those people are stupid as shit. Like, this was the most in fit. Like, he might not have been the bulkiest, but to me, this was the most in fit Lesnar we've seen in a minute. Like, just because you're bulky, sometimes you got the fucking, the flab and the little gut, and hey, I can relate. I have that without the bulky, but I thought he looked amazing. Outside of this little ponytail looking like Goro, amazing.
He looked fucking incredible, dude. He looked the scariest he's ever looked and the happiest he's ever looked at the same time. And I was like, this is terrifying. Like, he was even going by giving people high fives, and I was like, be careful, he'll rip your arm right off.
Yeah, exactly. They should have put up the barricade. Do not feed the animals. Because he was literally just gonna fuck somebody up and fucking chew off their arm. Like,
100%.
And like you said, when you saw the little smirk, you're like, what is he happy about and why? And this makes me terrified.
Yes.
Because I've never seen this before outside of the Brock party, which I still love.
No, Brock party was incredible. This is amazing. The way Paul Heyman was selling it, screaming and no, and this leaves so much up. Dude, this, at the end of this, I was like, Smackdown is not only the A show, it's like the show. There is no wrestling program at all happening right now, to me personally, that I give half a shit about as much as SmackDown right now. You're telling me
100%.
Becky's the champion? You're telling me Brock Lesnar is about to get face-to-face with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman is somewhere in the middle? You're telling me, fuck, there is nothing happening. You're telling me that Big E didn't get his Money in the Bank back? You're telling me that fucking Baron Corbin didn't just get his riches back? Finn Balor sitting in the pocket? I don't give a shit about what's happening on any program right now besides SmackDown right now as much as I do SmackDown.
No,
CM coming back is really cool for them, but for me, I got Becky and Brock back. I'm focused. I'm hyper-focused.
And see, here's the difference, because we talked about CM Punk coming back to, was it Double or Nothing? Was their last pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And he didn't. And that's where I think the big difference is like, yes, CM Punk coming back is huge. I'm not taking that away from him or AEW or anything like that. But when it's widely speculated and it's like, is he coming on this show or this show? Or, oh, wait, there's Chicago 2 shows down the road. And it's like, well, he's probably going to Chicago because they want that pop. They want the crowd. Fine. They had their moment.
Yep.
Whereas, Rampage and SmackDown going head-to-head on Friday night, and I believe they're at separate times, right?
Yeah.
But, if they were going head-to-head at the same time, like, no one's tuning in for CM Punk's second show.
No.
Where this SmackDown right now is now Becky and Brock's first show. And, like, you want to talk about Eminem versus Machine Gun Kelly? Like, this is kill shot. Like, Rampage is done. If they went head-to-head.
Well, apparently CM Punk's making his Dynamite debut tonight. He probably already did. I'm not watching. I'm not paying attention to it. I just don't care. But I will say that Rampage, with all that hype, didn't even get half the ratings of SmackDown and barely got over half the ratings of Raw. And so I really thought they would do more than that. And you know what it tells me? Because someone said,
ratings
I saw
don't
someone
matter.
tweeting about this. Well, for one, ratings don't matter. But for two, someone's all like, oh, Rampage got 740,000 last time. So it's like, oh, so that means that CM Punk brings about 300, 400,000 viewers. But AEW has gotten over 1.1 before. They get 1.1 a couple of times. They're doing good. But that tells me that there's half of their viewership is dormant or casual. They're going to tune in for big moments that they know are going to happen, but they're not tuning in the day-to-day, is what it looks like to me. And I don't fucking know anything. We're all dumb drunks here.
Yeah, and that to me is the problem. is that they're getting these for big moments that are announced.
Yes.
And this is what's my biggest complaint with WWE the last couple of years is that they announce these things.
Yeah,
One of the things, I brought up several times was the first Crown Jewel, where I happen to have the day off and I'm sitting here watching with my son, and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, and the host is all dun 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 dun. I was like, it's fucking Hogan, it's fucking Hogan. I text you immediately. I'm like, Hogan's back, and you're like, yeah, they tweeted that out 4 days ago, and I was like, this is why I don't go on Twitter. This is amazing, and I fucking marked out like crazy. And that's what gets me with today's wrestling is I know they want ratings and I know they want this and they want the sponsorships, but as a wrestling fan, I don't want any of that. Give me the surprises, give me the pops, give me the oh shit, this is awesome moments. Because a lot of times when they chant out this is awesome, it wasn't that you weren't expecting it, it's when you're expecting it and okay, now I'm gonna chant it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm saying I like this, not that I wasn't expecting it. But 100%, I think that, I think they have about 300, 400 viewers who tune in casually, which isn't a bad thing either. But it doesn't sound to me like they brought something. Because somebody else was all like, oh, what if, you get Daniel Bryan, let's say he brings in 200,000 viewers, and we bring in Adam Cole, and maybe he brings in 50,000 viewers. Like, oh, we can get up to 2 million. And I was like, unless you don't have 2 million of a pool to pull from, do you really have that many WWE fans who are so loyal to Daniel Bryan are going to tune into every show he's on AEW? I don't know. As much as I like Aleister Black, I check out Malachi Black stuff on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't watch the show to watch him. I find him after the fact because I like him. I don't like the show. And I think that there's something to be said about that. I think the most we're going to see for AEW is that 1.1, 1.2 area. I think it's going to be a long time before they get higher than that, to be honest. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's going to be a long time.
Yeah. And to me, it's a bigger question if they can get higher than that. Because, as, I shit on AEW jokingly, like, I wanted more and expected more. And it's the sequel complex. Like, the sequel is never better than the original because you're expecting so much, and when it doesn't live up to it, you're like, this sucks. And it's like, no, watch it for what it is and then form an opinion. And no one does that 100%. Across the board. But
that's true. A lot of people have formed their opinions and then watch it and say, yep, I was right. And you're like, on it, really?
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys that have gone over there. I'm waiting for some ladies as well, but there's a lot of stars that have gone over to AEW where I'm like, oh, I want to follow them. And then I just don't. Like the Good Brothers. I love them. I love them in WWE. I wanted to see more of them. I've watched half an episode of Dynamite when they were on there. And that's all I've seen from them in the past, year?
The thing that's unfortunate too is
thing.
I loved the Good Brothers in NJPW and in WWE. I thought they were not utilized to their capacity by WWE by far. I really honestly believe that they were misused there. I think that's a great argument to be made on them. They were definitely misused there. But at the same time, I haven't enjoyed anything they've done in Impact or AEW. Every time I catch more and more of what they're doing now, I'm disappointed in it, and so I just don't watch it as much. And it sucks to feel that way, but it is.
And to me, Moxley's a perfect example of this too, where, it's like, oh shit, we're going to get, something else or, see where they go. And everything that I've seen, I'm like, wait, to me, you were underutilized in WWE, but where you're at now, at least in my eyes, is worse.
Yeah, it's not as great. Now, I don't want to get too caught up about talking shit about other people, so let's talk a little bit of shit about WWE, because WWE did fuck up a few times here. And one of the things they did, which I absolutely fucking hated, was in the middle of SummerSlam, they did have a Miz TV type segment with Miz and Morrison and Xavier Woods, where Xavier Woods ends up squirting them with a squirt gun, and they're acting like they're getting clotheslined. I'll be honest. I loved Xavier Woods in Scott Hall gear. I loved that he took a survey of the audience. I loved that he said, hey, yo. I loved the fucking toothpick. I loved everything about Xavier Woods, but I hated everything about this segment in whole. What did you think about this
squiggly?
segment?
Oh, I love the. I was gonna say the squiggly on Xavier's hair. Yeah, I love that too. That was just a little tidbit, but
Loved it.
To me, it was at such a weird point in the pay-per-view, because if you weren't there, you would have taken it as it was.
Mm-hmm.
You being there and you not having concessions, and then Miz and Morrison shows up in a fucking water truck.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, they're here to save the day. We're gonna get fed, and, drinks and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then they just went on with it, and I was like, well, this sucks. I didn't pay too much attention to Miz and Morrison flopping around, but I at the same time don't expect anything else.
Yeah.
But to me, it is what it is. Watching Raw the night after, I'm happy because we've talked about that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the segment fell flat because, once again, the problems that the stadium was having.
Yeah, 100%. I could see that. I also felt like that if it's me, I would have cut this whole segment and I would have put something with Bailey in it, because nobody gave a shit about Miz and Morrison. Xavier Woods, as cool as he was, as awesome as that spot was, wasn't enough to bring this thing back around. If you needed to have some sort of like let me up sort of talk segment, put Bailey out there. Bailey would have gotten a huge response, and you could have done something else. You know what I mean? Like
it's just because you're a Bailey. It's just because you're a Bailey mark.
That doesn't sound
there's a lot of people that not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a casual fan at best. Anyway, I think there's a lot of people that like the Miz. And I don't want to say I'm a fan, but at the same time, I don't want to say I'm against him. But I think WWE viewed this as, the first stepping stone of them propelling Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
It helps with the divide between Miz and Morrison, which was evident on Monday. And I think this gives Morrison a boost, even though, he was out there looking cartoonish, kind of always does. But I think this gives Morrison a boost more than anything.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that. I just didn't feel like it did that. But outside of that, I loved the show. As far as Raw goes, there's not much really I want to talk about on Raw. Was there anything in Raw that you thought really stood out besides, we'll talk about Karrion Kross, but was there anything else in Raw that you even, like, this felt like a really bad Raw? And what was remarkable is it's the highest rated Raw in a while. It was over 2 million.
Yeah, because people wanted so much and they didn't deliver. So, once again, I'm not on ratings. I don't want to hark on the ratings. But once again, I'm curious to see where next week is because, I think there was so much, I think you and I talked about it. Wasn't Cena supposed to be on this Raw?
I thought so. I thought this Raw and the Smackdown.
Yeah, like we didn't, because I tried to watch this after the fact on USA app and they fucked up things and put the same episode of Raw 2 weeks in a row. So I only watched the Hulu version and trying to catch Cliff Notes and everything else. And I don't think I saw Cena on here, which is whatever. But the whole thing with Bobby and Damian and Sheamus and Drew seemed like it took up way too much fucking time. We only get an hour and a half of Raw on Hulu, and this took, I think, over a half hour. I'm like, wait a second, you just took a third of the show. Basically, in correspondence of the actual show, you took up the whole first hour just to show this bullshit, and then you put Drew and Bobby in the same conversation again? What the fuck is that? He could never go for the title. Remember? As long as Bobby has it. Bobby still has it. So
that's a really good point. He did say as long as Bobby has it, so they shouldn't be in the same conversation at all. Yeah, dude, overall, this entire Raw was awful. I liked, or I mean, I told you what I thought about Alexa and Charlotte, where it almost makes them both static to me. What do you think about the new look?
That little hand wave and boom to the Alexa fist, I think would have been amazing. The new look for Karrion, is that what you were going to ask?
Well, I'm not anymore. I was gonna, but I'll do that next. But Jeremy does say that CM Punk was on. The moment we were talking about, like, CM Punk's probably talking soon or already has, he was on at that moment. I did ask, what did Jericho say? Because he was making a career impactful announcement. And Jeremy says that he challenged MJF to one more match with his career on the line. If he doesn't win that match, he won't wrestle in AEW again. I did see something along those lines as far as like a quote, "I'll never wrestle in AEW again if I can't win one more match with you." What do you think about the idea of Jericho putting his match on his AEW career on the line? Do you think it means he's going to give it up, or do you think he's going to win? Because I think he's going to win so he can get that much more adulation for being the fucking greatest. Because I think that 50-50 booking is his thing.
I think he's going to win, but I want him to lose. You know,
I think he's going to win, hoping that the crowd erupts with excitement that they get more like.
Oh my God, he's not done.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, you see guys past their prime. Jericho's clearly past his prime. You know, it's like watching Ric Flair in that spot with Andrade. It's like, wow, this is not good.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
100%.
And, you know, it's like I like Jericho. And truthfully, I was never a big Jericho fan. You know, I know you loved him for years. I was never a big one. You know, seeing him play with Fozzy kind of turned me around, and I was like, all right. You know,
Do you remember when he was in WCW and I told him I felt like he was the next Shawn Michaels?
And I wanted to kick you in your fucking nads.
You told me I was a piece of shit, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel now? Just kidding. But, you know, like I said, I've never been a big Jericho fan, but even seeing this version of Jericho, I'm like, bro. Like,
no, he should have hung it up when he lost to Kevin Owens.
Yeah, you sent me a screenshot of the tweet or whatever. It said big announcement coming, and my response was retirement. Like, cool. I didn't realize it was against MJF. Like, unless Jericho thinks he's the future over there, which could be possible.
Well, he's on commentary on Rampage, and Jeremy says Jericho said he's going to focus on commentary for Rampage, which nobody wants to hear him on commentary anymore. He's been so bad on there. But either way, I guess we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. Let's talk about the last thing that WWE fucked up, because I think there's differing opinions on this. And again, I don't want to just shit on AEW. I don't mind shitting on WWE. As much as we're WWE shills by so many rights of it, I'm not going to deny my bias. Shit on things. Well, I just want to deny my bias. I know I'm biased to WWE. I think it's obvious. I think that it's clear. I mean, I've got, like, it's stupid of me to pretend I don't have a bias towards WWE when I like the stuff that WWE does, even when other people don't, and I don't like the stuff that other people do most of the time. Like, I have a bias, and it's there, and it's obvious. But it doesn't mean I can't recognize some things as being garbage. Even though I was defending Alexa and Eva Marie, it's because I think that other people's biases are impacting their opinion on it. So I do want to say that I have a bias, I'm aware of the bias, and we're willing to talk about that bias. Go ahead, Kev.
And I was going to say, and at the same time, we admit we have that bias. You know, everything I see in AEW, I don't shit on. I'm like, hey, that was decent. That was good. You know, all these spot fest matches, I do not like it. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, so when that's all I see, I'm not going to be a fan of it. Yeah. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to persuade anyone else's opinion, but through my eyes, that's what you get on the show. Through my eyes, through Marsh's eyes, and that's what you're going to get. Yep. You know, so.
100%.
It
Now,
is what it
what did
is.
you think of Karrion Kross's new look? Because that's getting a lot of people talking. He's got this helmet thing now. He's got these straps that go from his shorts there up around his shoulders. What do you think about this sort of mix between Executioner and Sultan look that Karrion Kross is starting to rock?
It's very sultany.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I want to see more. I don't like the straps at all. The helmet, I could be persuaded to like it or not. You know, if you see him, you know, because he's a badass. If you see him all of a sudden, you know, before he takes it off, headbutts his opponent, you know, before he takes it off and the ref doesn't see it, like, okay, that can work, but
Maybe. It's kind of leather, though. It reminds me a lot of the Viking Raiders
they have the
masks that they
studs on
had
it.
that people thought was so fucking cool. Even when they were...
Oh, did I lose you guys again? Nope. There you guys are. We good?
Are you still there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. My audio fucked up and producer's asleep, so I had to fix it myself. It reminds me a lot of the Viking Raiders, even when they were War Machine and NJPW. They had similar looking masks that everyone thought was so fucking cool, but since Karrion Kross has it now, they fucking hate it. I don't hate
And
it.
once,
I don't hate the straps
I-
either, but I want to see
see,
more.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I want to see where it goes. But once again, just the same thing that we just said with the biases. You know, hey, this looks just like this, and you loved it. Now it's on somebody else and you hate it.
Mhm.
Like, let's call a spade here, and you know that's just your biases.
Yeah, you don't like it because WWE did it, not because you don't like it. Because I'll post pictures of it, but if you look up the Viking Raiders when they had their helmets, or even the War Machines when they wore their helmets to one of the Wrestle Kingdoms, they're the same fucking helmets. And they even
Really?
had more gear on them. They had like big old shoulder pads and stuff too, and it looks badass. It looks cool. And that's really what Karrion Kross is doing. He's coming across as a gladiator, and he's not wrestling in the mask. He's taking it off.
Yeah.
Lunar does say, I don't care if he's wearing a mask, but I'm not a fan of the design. Also, pauldrons. Give him pauldrons. I don't know what a pauldron is. I can get that the design isn't like the best. His eyes are like barely peeking through. It's a little bit weird, but at the same time, I don't hate it.
Are pauldrons like those LOD spikes?
Oh, that'd be good.
The little metal spikes, not necessarily LOD, but the little metal spikes.
Yeah, give him the spikes on a cup for his jockstrap. That'd be cool.
Hiya!
Yeah, no low blows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
said
even they
basically
go for
shoulder
low,
armor.
bro. Yeah.
But that's all I had to say about Raw, really. I mean, they're doing the thing now with Eva Marie and Doudrop where they're clearly fighting now, and I'm cool with that.
And
I don't
see-
mind that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but WWE, listen to me, Bruce Prichard, marketing gimmick. Most people, like obviously the Raw fans know Doudrop as Doudrop.
Yeah.
Anyone that watched UK know her as Piper Niven.
Yeah.
Like I want her to slap around Eva Marie, stand over her, and just like Britney Spears say, "I'm Piper, bitch," or
Yep.
"It's Piper, bitch."
Yep.
You know, just whatever that tagline from Britney Spears was that everyone's falling in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how many shirts could you sell that says, "I'm Piper, bitch"?
I
Or
mean, they
"It's
got that
Piper,
nobody's bitch. They have nobody's bitch. Why can't they have a I'm Piper, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I think you can absolutely have Doudrop break away right here, and it'd be great.
Yeah, and actually go back to her being Piper Niven, and at that point, people might actually look up, oh, who's Piper Niven? Oh, wait, she has a nice little library behind her. She's not just a gimmick off the street or a schmo off the street.
Yeah. She's no schmo. She's a Piper. The other thing is, what I wanted to say about the Eva Marie after the fact, once that's done, since we've heard all these rumors over and over again about the Bellas coming back, what do you think about the idea of the Bellas coming back and reuniting with Eva Marie because they're all from Total Divas and talking about how the Divas Revolution should be a thing? They could even pair up with Carmella, and you can have the Bellas, Eva Marie, and Carmella against the Four Horsewomen, who can definitely be going, we're not trying to take steps backwards towards the garbage that you guys put on, where the Divas are saying we're undermined by your guys' evolution.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. It'd be interesting, especially once again with this version of Carmella. Eva's been Eva the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Bellas. So, I mean, it'd be interesting. Once again, like if they're going to that and if it's a slow play, like it'd be amazing because we haven't heard about the Divas title in years. And if the Divas come back and let's say Nikki beats Charlotte and wins the Raw Women's Championship, she's like, no, I have a better belt. And she brings back the Diva belt. Just like when they brought back the big gold belt and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, just be like, this new belt's so ugly.
Yeah. I know something that I like more. Yeah. And bring back that hideous butterfly.
That could be a fucking hell of a story. Definitely could be.
And think about how many more Divas belts that they would sell at that point.
Oh yeah.
I don't think people are flocking to the shop to buy Diva belts. But as soon as they did that, once again, marketing. Hear me out here. Give me a cut. I'll just take a mini butterfly belt, a moth belt.
100%. Kuro coming through at the last second. Kuro, cheers for coming through. We always appreciate you, buddy. We didn't see you at SummerSlam, man. I was walking around with the WrestleMania belt, or my Wrestling on the Rocks belt, hoping to run into you. We didn't see you. But as it stands, was there anything you thought about this weekend that we missed that you wanted to talk about, Kev?
Just going back to the stadium and that shit show at Allegiant, they need to open up another overpass or two. Because when we were walking there, I thought the overpass was great. They had their water stations on the way to Allegiant. I was like, this is cool because it's an overpass that you can drive over, but when there's events, they close it off and you can walk over. And I thought this was great, especially with all the parking there. But then leaving the fucking stadium, holy shit, was that a fucking cattle roundup if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
You had 50,000 people, let's say 40,000, because that was, so you have everyone trying to funnel into this one overpass and everyone's just backed up. You had people jumping over the walls like crazy. The ones I felt the worst for was the idiots that spent $100 to park right next to the stadium. They couldn't move because there's too many people in the way.
Yep, they got stuck.
And I was like, these are, once again, some of the kinks that you would work out having more events there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just sit there and be like, yo, this stadium's been open for, a year and a half. And it's like, well, look at the year they've been open. Like I said, they've only had a handful of events there. Mm-hmm. I think the dynamic on which they thought was going to happen didn't happen. Yeah. So, I have a feeling in like 2-3 years when they put some, hey, let's put this overpass over here, at least one on the other side of the stadium. Plus, I don't even know what was on the west side of the stadium. I don't know what was on that side, but because I even told my buddy that I was with, I was like, is there a bar over there? Let's just go to that bar and have a drink or two and then walk across the shit.
Yeah, what we ended up doing is we actually went over to Mandalay Bay and had dinner and then got in our car to leave. Like, we literally stayed around for an hour, hour and a half.
But that was after you crossed the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about
not even getting to the bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if we would have known, but once again, we couldn't even buy beer there. If there was a spot or two around the stadium, and once again, it might be when they can develop that area more. Like I said, I don't know exactly what's around there, but the Cardinal Stadium is a perfect example to me. When they were building it, I remember driving by there, and all I saw was cotton fields everywhere. And I was like, you stupid motherfuckers, why are you building the stadium out here? If you go there now, there's a bunch of houses everywhere. There's a bunch of bars. There's a bunch of places to go. There's attractions. No more cotton fields. Except for this one place. I forgot what it's called. It's like the Cotton Shack. And it's like this rundown thing that's probably been there since the 1800s. But anyways, like once that is established there, you know, because developers are going to come in. If there's houses around there, you know, as DiBiase always said, every man has their price. Hey, we're buying that house. We're buying that house. We're buying that house. We're putting up a bar here, a casino here. I think then once it starts spreading out and actually becoming, you know, a little of its own entity, I think it'll be a little more controlled and understood. But like I said, I want to say they've held under 10 events there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure they have. But yeah, all that is an issue for sure. Kiro does say he was there. He was kind of boxed into my seat. I had someone approach me at Smackdown, or was it Vegas? It was one of those where they walked over, looked at my belt, they said, "Oh man, that belt's great. I love it." And I was like, "Thanks, man." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm a fan." And I was like, "Kuro?" And the guy went, "What?" And I was like, "Nothing." I thought someone approached me about it. But then I asked the guy's name, and he just stared at me, and it was a whole weird thing, but it was all right. Kev, overall, I had a fucking blast this weekend, and I think WWE fan, AEW fan, wrestling fan, you got something that you can hang your hat on for a while. And so I think it was a good week to love wrestling. What do you think?
100%. This is the first time in a long time, because out of the big four, I always think SummerSlam, and even recently Survivor Series, because Survivor Series, when they do the 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, I love.
Yeah.
When it's all brand versus brand, I don't like. I don't like that at all.
For sure.
But this is the first time in a long time that SummerSlam was the biggest party of the summer.
Yeah.
And it's not just me going there. If I was here at home, which there was a good possibility until the last second, I still would have enjoyed the shit out of the show. The swerves with Becky, the surprise with Brock coming back, the matches in and of themselves, like, I thought this was one of the best SummerSlams that I've seen in a minute.
Yeah. I've never been to a SummerSlam live. This is my first SummerSlam, and I'd be happy even if it was my last, because being able to be there when Becky comes back, when Brock comes back, absolutely phenomenal. Any other final thoughts you had on the thing before we do last call?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Guys, we will be back tomorrow night for one more episode 1 as we talk about NXT TakeOver, NXT this week, the outfall of it, as well as AEW, the debut of Punk, and then the second showing of Punk. We'll be here tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1. Stackhouse coming through. Stackhouse. Whoop, whoop. Does say, I agree. I thought it was pretty good. It was fantastic, man. I had such a good time with it. Ups and downs, as it were, but it was so exciting and so good to be there live for it. Kuro does say in the chat, I was also shit-faced drunk, so even if I did find you guys. Yeah, and we couldn't get drunk there, and we wanted to be. We just couldn't buy them. So we appreciate that, guys. We will be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1, but if you're only interested in what we talk about when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, that's a week away for a whole new episode 1. But either way, guys, we appreciate you coming through, hanging out with us, your drinking buddies, my drinking buddies. I'm at Ref Marsh. That's Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. We are at WOTR the show, and we will be back next week as well as tomorrow for brand new episode 1s right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.